In this world, writers are one of the 1% of the world who draw power from the books they write. They get more powerful as their publications are read by the masses. There are rare cases where powerful writers have brought their books to life. The writers get their powers from magical presses, which are mysterious machines that no one knows where they came from. As expected, some writers use their powers for good, while others do bad with them. The writers are also able to pass on their powers to their children. Basically, the families of powerful writers of the past still maintain their status as the current powerful families. In Seoul, at the head office of one of the many presses, the Nocturne Press, RMC, Sung is scolded by his manager, Miss Kim. Sung is still an E-rank writer who has only managed to pull 12,000 reads after publishing 2 books. Instead of looking at how poor his record is, Sung believes he is doing well since he is able to get 12,000 people to read his trash books. However, his manager points him to the reviews dropped on the book to show him how bad they are. Reviews are so bad that some are calling for the arrest of the trash author. Sung is not the least worried as he tells Kim that people are dropping the reviews because they can't relate to his ingenuity. He reminds Kim that he wrote the best poetry of the past year, but Kim doesn't care since no one freaking reads poetry anymore. Kim then mentions the fact that the press is the oldest in the country, but they have not been doing well in the past year, which has allowed their competitor, the Red Eye Press, to overtake them. Because of this, the company is relying on young writers like Sung to help boost the company's sales. She urges him to take a playbook out of a writer named K. K is the youngest writer ever to attain B rank at the age of 20 years, and to make it all sweet, he is also a pop star. She gives Sung one of K's books, which is an office romance type. Sung reluctantly takes the book from her before she storms off in anger. She lets Sung know that he has only 1 week to read the book. Sung holds his head in frustration, but his friend Salim urges him not to think about the situation since it could have gotten worse. Salim points out that Sung could have gotten himself fired if Kim didn't like him. Sung gets some pretty good advice from what his friend says. Sung believes that they are pretty lucky to be working for a press as big as the Nocturne Press considering their background. That night, Sung lies in his apartment, and he becomes interested in the book without even realizing it. After getting a few chapters of the book, Sung decides that it is time for him to sleep. He throws the book on the table while promising to continue the next day. Sung soon finds himself in dreamland, where he sees his mother and aunt, Hyejin. It is all a happy moment until they hear a knock on the door. The aunt walks to the door to open it, but suddenly gets attacked by an unknown man. Hyejin is immediately killed by the intruder. Sung's mother somewhat recognizes the danger and grabs her son. She dashes out of the room with her son in her arms. She tells Sung to hold on to her while she tries to escape. The bad guy appears behind them and unleashes a blade that pierces the woman's body, barely missing Sung. She crashes to the ground while the bad guy strolls up to her, telling her how hard it is to find her. He laughs evilly while wielding his cross-like weapon. Without hesitation, he swings his weapon at the two, aiming to end them. Sung's mother pushes him away, urging him to run. The bad guy smashes Sung's mother into the ground, ultimately killing her. Sung's little run turns out to be futile as the bad guy easily catches up to him. Sung is about to join his mother in the afterlife when another figure shows up to defend him. The new figure is wielding a sword, unlike his counterpart, who is wielding a big cross-like weapon. Sung's defender tells the attacker how disappointed he is that he is going after a kid without remorse. The new dude informs the attacker that he is going to pay for his sins. He unleashes a powerful lightning-based attack to hit the intruder. But the intruder remains unfazed. To counter the incoming attack, the intruder opens a portal, introducing a shining golden figure to fight on his behalf. Sung can only watch as the two powerful figures duke it out among themselves. Sung wakes back into his apartment, screaming for help before realizing that he was just in a nightmare where he saw everything that happened in his past. He wonders why he had the nightmare again after it's been a while. Sung leaves his bed and walks up to the image of his mother sitting on his table. He promises his mother that he is going to get stronger so he can avenge her by killing those who took her away from him. Suddenly, a section of his room gets blown apart and Sung is thrown to the ground by the shockwave. A mysterious white humanoid figure enters the room and walks up to Sung. In a surprising turn of events, the figure addresses Sung as his son. The figure informs Sung that he is leaving him his power and that of the entire bloodline. The figure enters Sung, and he passes out in the process. When Sung wakes up, he complains about the subsequent dreams. He believes that his apartment coming blowing up and seeing the mysterious figure is all a dream, until he puts on his glasses. He takes a better look at the room to see that a section of it is destroyed. Sung leaves the house, not paying much attention to his broken window. He plans to fix the window later since he needs to get to work to avoid getting scolded by Miss Kim. Sung is ready to do whatever it takes to get stronger and avenge his mother. He walks down the history while a historical romance, just like Miss Kim demanded. Unknown to Sung, he is the secret heir to a powerful writer who goes by the name Victor Hugo. Also, awaiting absorption inside his little head is 32 billion reads. Sung innocently continues his story while still navigating the street. He soon runs into a little girl and her mother. The girl is mesmerized by seeing a writer, and her mother urges her not to disturb the busy Sung. Sung is confident that the publication he is working on will overthrow K's best-selling book. He soon runs into Salim, who talks about how hardworking Sung is. Apparently the two have known each other since they were at the same orphanage. Just then, Salim asks Sung if he is aware of what happened in Paris. Sung replies that he has no idea what happened in Paris since he also went through a crazy ordeal over the night. He tells Salim that he had a crazy dream, but he doesn't remember most of it, and in addition to that, a thunderstorm destroyed a part of his room. Salim looks at his friend like some weirdo and mentions that something crazy happened with the Hugos. Sung immediately becomes interested since he has no idea what Salim is talking about. Apparently, Emile Hugo died the night before after suffering from a long-term illness. Just when his power was about to be transferred to his son Julius, an explosion rocked the building. Sung doesn't want to believe that someone would go after the Hugos, who are considered the most powerful writers on the planet. When Salim realizes that his friend doesn't believe, he whips out his phone to show him the news. On the news, the reporter reveals that more attacks are said to have happened in the Notre Dame Cathedral, where the Hugos reside. Those who were invited to preside over the power transfer ceremony all lost their lives. Among the dead are the commander of the Holy Order's armed forces, Altair, and Apostle Ludwig. The reporter reveals that investigations have shown that the attack most likely happened due to a bomb going off where the ceremony was being held. This destroyed the cathedral, but in recent reports, the only survivor is Julius Hugo. He was dragged out of the ruins and taken to a hospital where he is being treated for his severe injuries. Salim points out the fact that whoever went after the Hugos and managed to kill the apostle is quite dangerous. This is something that has never happened before, and the two believe that whoever orchestrated the attack took advantage of the ceremony. Sung is confident that the attack was also successful because Julius was vulnerable while absorbing his ancestors' power. Julius is considered very powerful since he is almost an S-rank writer before the ceremony. Under normal circumstances, he would have stopped the attack since his books have over 600 million reads already. It is even impressive enough that he acquired the 600 million reads from just 2 books. Sung decides to glaze himself as he compares his trash self to Julius. Salim is forced to point out that Julius is way above Sung since he only has 12,000 reads. Sung then argues that he is younger than Julius, which gives him more time to acquire the same impressive numbers as Julius. Salim cannot believe that Sung seriously believes that he can reach Julius's level when Julius is just 18 years older than him. Sung ends the conversation by telling his friend that he is just being negative. The two soon arrive at their work building, and later that evening, the two visit a bar to have fun. While they are drinking, Sung talks about how stressful it is for him to write a romantic book since it is not his style. Sung then makes fun of K's book, comparing his friend to one of the characters in the book. Salim and Sung have real fun talking about how trash K's books are and why he is just receiving special treatment because he is an idol. Just then, they are approached by a dude, Yogwe. He is a D-rank writer working for the first-hand press, and he has over 160,000 reads. Apparently, Yogwe is a friend of K. Salim, who tries to avoid trouble by lying about who they are talking about, and he asks Sung to back him up. However, Sung lights the fire, revealing that they were trash-talking K. Yogwe gets mad, telling the two that K is the best talented writer that Korea has ever produced. He is the youngest writer to reach B rank, and he is also considered the prize jewel of the first-hand press. Even with this, Sung doesn't seem to care. Yogwe figures this out and decides that he is going to beat Sung up for being a troublemaker. Yogwe also wants to use the opportunity to clear the beef between the two presses. He considers the first-hand the best new-gen presses. Salim realizes that the situation is escalating, and he tries to de-escalate it, but he gets punched across the face by Yogwe. Sung screams, worried about Salim's wellness. Sung is mad hyped up, but Yogwe is a D-rank writer, and he believes that he has no chance to take him on. The power level between them is quite enormous. Even with this, Sung tries to make a move while relying on his MMA skills from when he was 10. Before he can react, he gets kicked, but luckily for him, he is able to block the hit. Because of how fast he is, Yogwe is able to land another hit, throwing Sung into the distance. Just as he is about to walk away, Sung calls his attention again. He makes fun of Yogwe's manner. With their little encounter together, Sung has figured out that Yogwe's attacks are weak. The only edge he has is his speed. Putting everything together, Sung believes that he can take on Yogwe. Yogwe angrily runs at Sung, but because he has analyzed Yogwe's movements, Sung gets to dodge his attacks. Sung manages to get the drop on Yogwe and hits him hard, throwing him into the distance. Sung tells Yogwe that his rank is nothing since he can't back it up with a good technique. Sung turns around to see Salim, and just as he rushes over to his friend, he comes down with a severe migraine before reaching Salim. The system reveals that Sung is undergoing assimilation progress, and the system tells Sung that his rank is too low to assimilate such a high amount of reads. Meanwhile, Yogwe is back on his feet and he is mad that Sung disgraced him. He decides to use a dangerous technique and he arms himself with a knife, ready to seriously injure Sung. Before he can get to Sung, Selim stands up and throws a chair at Yogwe. This gets him mad, and he decides to turn his attention to Selim. He charges at Selim at high speed, but just as he is about to reach him, he is stopped by an overwhelming force. He is taken to the ground, and it turns out to be a bunch of knights. They put Yogwe under arrest for using his powers and attacking a fellow writer. Selim is also restricted from moving while Sung has already passed out. The magic presses first appeared on Earth in the 15th century, which were able to grant humans supernatural abilities. The rulers of that time saw this as a great opportunity, and they started drafting writers into their armies to try and swing the tide of war in their favor. Since a writer's power can be inherited by their children, the number of writers becomes overwhelmingly large. However, in the 19th century, the rulers of the great countries who wanted peace came together to form a unit called the Holy Order. The writers who join the Holy Order then get to fight other writers who are driven by violence. After a few decades of battle, the Holy Order gained the upper hand and eventually peace returned to the world. The Holy Order then takes over the printing presses, reducing the number of books that can be produced. Each country is assigned a maximum number of books that can be produced, and these numbers are then distributed among their publishing houses. By the 21st century, these publishing houses have become the largest businesses on the planet, and the writers who own the publishing houses are the most powerful beings. Among them is Julius Hugo, who recently became the president of Hugo Press. Some of these writers achieve greater feats, like becoming rulers of a country. Even Shakespeare was a powerful writer in his time, which gave him tremendous power. To retain power, the publishing houses recruit talented writers to help them write the best books so that they can continue retaining their quota year after year. The pressure to reach their quotas often causes problems between writers of publishing houses, which sometimes leads to fights. However, the Holy Order is there to punish writers who break the law by fighting. At the Holy Order Police Department, Sung sleeps outside the building while waiting for his friend to be released. In his usual funny dreams, he sees Julius telling him that he's going to find him. Sung wakes up looking all cautious and frantic, but Selim is the one standing in front of him. He urges him to calm down, and he asks Sung what he is doing on the sidewalk. Selim later figures out that his friend has been waiting for him since the night before. Sung then reveals that he has been having terrible headaches after the fight at the bar. Apparently, when he woke up, everyone was gone, including Selim. It was the girl at the bar who told Sung that Selim had been arrested, and he rushed over to the police station, but they stopped him from seeing Selim. After hearing this, Selim thanks Sung for trying to help him, and he confirms the fact that he was arrested alongside Yogwe. Selim was arrested because the police assumed that he and Yogwe started the fight at the bar. Sung then asks Selim why he didn't say anything about him since he was the one who started the fact. Selim replies that he is only trying to protect his friend since his books are not performing well. In addition to this, he doesn't want the press to find another reason to fire Sung. Sung hears this and refuses to accept Selim's sacrifice. He tries walking into the station to hand himself over, but he is stopped by Selim. He reminds him that the police might hold him for the entire day, and this might be bad for him since it is certification day and they need to attend. This is enough to convince Sung not to act irrationally. However, Sung is worried that Selim will be brought back in for questioning, but Selim assures Sung that he has nothing to worry about since he has a friend in a high place who helped him get out of jail. He won't be returning to jail, and Sung immediately assumes that Miss Kim was the one who helped Selim. However, Selim tells Sung that he is wrong. He was rescued by the least expected person, and that is Kay. Sung cannot believe his ears, and Selim tries to paint Kay all good, telling Sung that he has the wrong impression about Kay. Selim adds that after Kay got him out of jail, he even apologized for what Yogwe did. Just then, Kay's car parks right next to them. Kay speaks to the two from inside the vehicle, and he invites them over. Sung is reluctant, but because of Selim, he ends up entering the vehicle. Sitting in the vehicle is also Yogwe. Kay apologizes for what happened between the boys the night before. Sung remains hostile and cautious toward Kay and Yogwe. Sung boasts about how great the Nocturne Press is, and Kay agrees. However, he is hoping that the first-hand press gets to the same level someday. Sung still uses this to throw a dig at Kay, asking him if he plans to reach the top by writing fanfiction. Yogwe is mad and wants to react to this, but he turns around to look at Kay and see how relaxed he is. Kay then tells Sung that he has no issue writing fanfiction as long as fans keep coming back for more. Selim agrees with Kay, since the whole point of writing is to make fans love their books. Kay then proposes a deal to the two. He suggests that they settle their differences over dinner. Selim immediately agrees to this, asking Kay where he plans to take them. Kay reveals that he wants them to have dinner at his house, and the two agree. Not long after, they arrive at Kay's apartment building. They ride an elevator that takes them to the top of the building where Kay's apartment is located. Selim is blown away by how large and beautiful the apartment is. Even Sung is left in awe as he stands at the window side to see how massive and glorious it is. Instead of giving Kay the accolade of having a nice apartment, he simply reveals that his own apartment also has a good view, just like Kay's. Kay then calls the two to the dining table, showing them the varieties of dishes that were prepared. He hoped that they would like it, but without a doubt, Selim and Sung are already salivating over the dishes in front of them. While they are eating, Kay then asks Selim and Sung how they ended up writing for Nocturne since the two are half Korean. Selim replies that he doesn't have a definite answer to the question. However, he remembers that he and Sung met at an orphanage in Korea, and in no time, the two became obsessed with writing. The two had no idea why they were drawn to writing but assumed that writing was in their blood. After this, the two attended the same school, and this was when they were scouted and they ended up writing for Nocturne. Kay hears their story and commends them for working hard to get where they are. Sung still finds a way to argue that he and Selim are talented, which is why Nocturne, the best publisher in the country, hired them. Yogwei hears this and immediately debunks the idea that Nocturne is the best. He tells Sung that Nocturne will soon lose its position as the best publisher, and this only leads to a staring battle between the two. As usual, Kay diffuses the situation, acknowledging Nocturne's greatness, but reveals their intention to overtake Nocturne by working hard. Since the two are young writers, Kay asks them if they will be attending the certification ceremony, which is being held that day, and Selim says yes. Because of this, Selim wants to leave early so that they can get a bath, but Kay offers them the chance to use his private spa. Sung and Selim are shocked to hear that Kay has a private spa. Kay tries acting modest by telling them that it is not that big a spa. Kay then takes them to the room where the spa is located by unlocking the door using a system that uses his fingerprint recognition. The four get into the beautiful spa to relieve their stress. Sung admits that the spa is nice, and he can even stay in there for months without even realizing it. Yogwei only uses this to take a dig at Sung, telling him that he is going to get stuck at E rank with the type of mentality he has. Sung wants to get mad, but Selim quickly agrees with him, acknowledging the fact that they need to work harder if they are to rise up the ranks. Selim then thanks Kay for the hospitality, and Kay replies in a good way. Selim assures Kay that there will be no more trouble between them, and Sung still acts all high and mighty, telling Kay that he accepts his apology. Yogwei doesn't take this the right way as expected, but Sung gets out of the pool, telling Selim that it is time that they leave. However, before they leave, Sung asks Kay about the symbols at the bottom of the pool. Kay smiles and replies that he allowed his artist to choose the design. He claims that they are from Germany, revealing that they are German motifs. Selim had not noticed the design before, but the moment Sung talked about it, he looked down into the pool. But Selim's reaction speaks a lot. The moment he sees the symbol, sweat drips down his face in fear as he doesn't want to believe his eyes. After leaving Kay's apartment, Selim makes his way to a dark alley where he meets with a suspicious fellow. Selim hands this fellow an image of the symbol he saw at Kay's pool. He wants the suspicious fellow to look into the symbols, but he urges them to be careful. Apparently, Selim fears that the symbol means something really dangerous, but the suspicious fellow assures Selim that they are going to be discreet in making their findings. Selim remains hopeful that the symbol means nothing. Just then, Sung finds Selim in the alley, asking him what he is doing walking around the dark alley. Selim claims that he got lost while thinking about the ceremony. Sung just scolds his friend for always acting weird. Selim teases Sung, reminding him that he is the weird one. The two then proceed to the Holy Order's headquarters, where the ceremony is being held. Present in the building are other young writers waiting to be certified. A stern-looking man soon appears to address the young writers. The man is Damas, the president of the Nocturne Press, and he is 62 years old. He is an A-rank writer with 220 million, and he is the most powerful writer in Korea, if the descendants of the grand dynasties are excluded. Damas welcomes the young writers to the certification ceremony. He talks about how literature has experienced immense growth in recent years. In addition to this, the writers have fans all over the world. Damas believes that in no time, Korea will be able to compete with other great writing nations. He continues with his nice speech and then uses the opportunity to congratulate First-Hand Press and its president, Mr. Park. Damas applauds Park for taking First-Hand to great heights in a short space of time. Park is 48 years old, and he is a C-rank writer who already has 4 million reads. In addition to this, he owns several music labels. Selim makes jokes about Park to Sung, saying Park is the shadiest-looking dude he has seen. As expected, Sung welcomes the joke, saying Park must have taken a shortcut just so he can stand beside Damas. Damas also congratulates Miss Hemingway, the president of Red Eye Press. They have managed to surpass the Nocturne Press in annual sales for the first time in 50 years. Hemingway is an A-rank writer who has 600 million plus reads to her name. She is also the heir to Ernest Hemingway, who is the most powerful writer in Korea. While introducing Hemingway, her writers all clap their hands while staring at their president in amazement. Damas continues with his speech, telling the writers that they all need to remain vigilant, especially after the recent tragedy that happened in Paris. Damas points to the writers, telling them that they are the prospects of the future to uphold peace in the world. After some minutes of delivering his speech, he suggests that they start the ceremony. Dama starts calling on the apprentice writers one after the other. Salim is glad that he and his friend finally made it, and they will take the oath. The writers are expected to place their palms on the console while reciting the oath. A dude named Seong is the first to be called on stage to take the oath. Seong chose Aiden Dragonborn as his writer's name while taking the oath. Salim is impressed by the nom de plume Seong chose for himself. Salim asks Sung if he's going to choose a nom de plume for himself too. Sung replies that he has no intention of picking another name for himself. Just then, a dude behind them chips in on the conversation. The guy is Evander, and he calls himself the Righteous. He reveals that having the right nom de plume can help writers break into the international market. Sung thanks Evander for the tip, but replies that he doesn't need the international market. Evander only mocks Sung, asking him how far his stubbornness has taken him. Salim asks Evander a simple question, and he starts glazing himself like he is a god. When he reveals the nom de plume he chose, Selim acknowledges that it is nice. Apparently, Evander is following in the footsteps of his idol, Altair, which is why he chose Evander the Righteous. Sung also asks Salim what name he is going for, and Salim reveals that he has no intentions of changing his name. He is going to go with Salim to honor his mother. Evander looks disappointed that Salim is going with something so simple. Sung joins Evander to tease his friend, saying there will be other writers who already have the same name as him. Just then, Salim is called to the stage to take his oath. Salim walks to the front, and after taking the oath, he is acknowledged as a certified writer. Salim returns to the crowd with a smile on his face, and just then, Sung is called to the front. Salim hypes Sung as he walks up to the console. Sung thinks to himself how proud he is that he is finally a writer after a year of writing for Nocturne Press. The officer in charge commends Sung's achievements and urges him to take the oath before the Holy Order. He also suggests that he take a writer's name, but Sung replies that he doesn't want a writer's name, as he is only interested in keeping his civil name. Sung places his hand on the console, and the officer tells him to read the oath aloud. The oath entails instructions, telling the writers not to use their powers against their fellow man. They are also not allowed to fight in public. In addition, they are expected to pledge allegiance to the Holy Order. While reading out the oath, Sung can only think about the fight that had happened in the bar. After reading out the oath, the officer tells Sung not to forget to complete his profile on the Holy Order's website. The officer has not finished this statement when the screen reveals a real-time update of Sung's lifetime reads. Instead of 12,000 reads, the system starts to re-update itself. Sung's reads keep increasing, shocking Sung himself. Before he knows it, it reaches 30 billion reads and the system immediately goes off, declaring Sung as an S-rank writer. The alarm in the room goes off, leaving everyone confused. Everyone rushes over to the console to try and see what is going on. In no time, a call from the Inquisitor comes in after someone contacted him. Even Sung has no idea what is going on, and the officer suggests that they turn off the machine before they pick up the Inquisitor's call because he doesn't want the Inquisitor to find out that there is a glitch in the system. However, the call ends up coming through, and it turns out to be an Inquisitor called Saint Alaric. With everyone's reaction, Alaric is apparently a feared man. Alaric demands to know why his work is being interrupted, and one of the officers quickly bows his head to the Inquisitor, begging for forgiveness. He claims that the system has run into a glitch, causing it to give out false readings. The officer screams at his junior officers to look for the source of the error, but Alaric stops them, asking them how sure they are that the whole thing is due to an error in the system. Trembling in fear, the officer fails to give a definite answer to the question. The system keeps running after concluding its calculation, and Sung's profile is updated, showing that he is an E rank with just 12,000 reads. Everyone calms down when this happens, and the officer tells Alaric that he has nothing to worry about. However, the Inquisitor retains his doubts and only lets off a smirk. The officers apologize for the interruption, claiming that the machine is usually sensitive to giving out fake numbers. He promises Alaric that they are going to fix the machine. Alaric claims that it would have been nice if Sung were truly a forbidden S-rank writer. Meanwhile, Alaric is playing a game of chess with a dude named Leonardo. Leonardo is heir to Stefan Zweig, and he is a B-rank writer who has 95 million reads. He is a heretic, which is a bloodline forbidden by the Holy Order. He looks absolutely terrified while sitting in Alaric's presence. Alaric finishes the game with a checkmate, and Leonardo already knows what this means for him. He makes a run for it in fear, but before he can even make it far, Alaric declares his judgment. He declares that Leonardo's generation is doomed to extermination. Leonardo is trapped by a chain that finishes him. Alaric then turns to the officer, telling him not to ever disturb him over an unverified issue. He threatens the officer that he is going to lose his life if it ever happens again. After leaving the officer with this terrifying threat, he drops the call. The officer falls to the ground in fear, thankful that he got to keep his life. Sung is then told to go back to the crowd since he is done with his oath. Sung returns to Salim and Evander, who both reveal their fear that Sung was about to be wiped off. Evander teases him about being a heretic, and Sung just believes that the whole situation is due to people overreading his books. Meanwhile, Hemingway is not taking anything for granted. He tells one of his subordinates to find out everything about Sung. After the ceremony, Selim talks about how interesting it went. Evander reveals that he is surprised that Alaric was contacted over something that doesn't really mean much. Evander believes that the Holy Order must have recalibrated the detection machines after the attack in Paris. Sung agrees with Evander and says a rival family must have been targeting the Hugos. Evander hopes that the terrorists behind the attack are found and brought to justice. Evander also mentions how grateful he is that Sung isn't a heretic because he would have just killed himself, given the fact that he hates heretics. Evander considers every illegal writer a heretic who needs to be killed. Sung agrees, reminding the two that Miss Kim would not be telling him to write an office romance if he were an S-rank writer. Just then, the trio is approached by two cute ladies, asking how long they have been working for Nocturne Press. An interesting conversation ensues between the girls and the men. The conversation soon leads to the girls asking if they can take a group picture, to which the boys agree. After the saga with the ladies is over, Sung has an internal monologue with himself. He has never been a person moved by fame, love, or money. The only thing that interests him is his zeal to avenge his murdered mother. At the Hugo estate, he undergoes a power reading where he realizes that he was only able to absorb half of his bloodline's power before the bomb went off. The house steward, Arthur, tells him his father has another heir, and this is why he didn't get 100% of his bloodline's power. Julius is pissed, but Arthur assures him to relax since he has a way of recovering the missing half of his birthright. Arthur says the first thing they need to do is locate the other child whom his father has. Julius urges Arthur to be careful since the Holy Order is keeping a close watch on them since the attack happened. Arthur assures Julius that he has nothing to worry about since the person who absorbed the power will still be getting used to it, which will make him vulnerable. Julius then asks Arthur how he plans to find his half-brother. Arthur reveals that they are currently going through all of his late father's activities to find anything unusual. Different stewards have been deployed to search for Julius's half-brother, who is Sung. Arthur is confident that Julius cannot hide for long since the amount of power he has cannot be concealed. The stewards are working around the clock, checking every unusual activity in an attempt to find Sung. In their search, they run into the bar fight. But only Selim and Yogwe's names are entered into the system as the culprits, seemingly giving Sung another brief moment of escape. In the Nocturne's head office, Sung is still conducting research on the books he is asked to write. He has gone through 30 in just one day, and he tells Selim that he basically doesn't see why people should be addicted. The books always have the same plot and the same characters. Just then, Kim enters the room, informing the writers of important news. She tells them that House Hugo has just announced the release of a new book. The book is titled A Prophet, and it is written by Julius Hugo himself. Sung laughs at the name, calling it a regular book. Selim, on the other hand, doesn't mind telling Sung that he is going to read the book. In the book, Julius talks about his strained relationship with his father and his responsibilities of being a prophet. Apparently, the book provides access to the private life of a prophet, and Julius hopes that it will be remembered for a long time. Kim then drops the banger, revealing that House Hugo is expected to print over 1 billion copies. Selim and Sung are shocked by this. Sung knows that the books are going to sell very well because of the recent tragedy that happened to the family. In addition to this, House Hugo has given the rights of translation to 3 publishing houses in Korea. The 3 publishing houses are obviously the Red Eye Press, the First Hand Press, and the Nocturne Press. In a tricky turn of events, Julius wants the translation to be done by writers who are the same age as him. This is why the task falls to the junior writers, and Kim hopes that the writers will make the company proud. Each publishing house is expected to submit 5 writers who are under the age of 30. The teams will then face off with each other in a trial selection. After the trial, the team that comes out on top will get the translation contract. Kim then reveals that she has already chosen the 5 writers to represent them. Kim then calls out the name. The first person on her list is Selim and followed by Evander. There's also Yuna, who was previously working for Red Eye Publishing House. The 4th person on the list is Jean. Surprisingly, the last person on the list is Sung. Even Sung is shocked when he hears his name. Kim urges him to do his best since she had to put his career on the line to add Sung to the list. This sparks a fire in Sung and silently assures Kim that he's going to make sure he gets the contract. Kim tells them why the contract is important. Apparently, their quota will be increased, and they will return to their top spot as the best publishing house in Korea. Sung knows that translators will gain nothing working on the project, but this provides a sure sellout for the translators' next project since they will be working for the esteemed Julius Hugo. Sung is fired up, and he tells Selim that it is finally time for them to shine. Selim is confident that with Evander and Yuna on the team, they are definitely going to win the competition. Apparently, Yuna is a direct descendant of Ernest Hemingway, and she is also Red Eye's president's daughter. The fact that Hemingway's daughter is working for Nocturne still shocks Sung. Salim mentions that Yuna's relationship with her mother broke down, which is why she left the publishing house. Salim believes that she is out to do her best and get back at her mother. Sung is only worried that Yuna will end up stealing the spotlight from them. The two are still talking about Yuna when Jean shows up behind them. She lets them know that she is there to formally introduce herself since they will be working together. Sung is aware of the fact that Jean is still extremely shy, and if Kim had picked her as one of the team members, that means she has some talent. Jean reveals that she has not spoken Korean in a long while and suggests that they communicate in English. The two gentlemen understand her plight and agree to this. It is easy for the writers in Nocturne to speak different languages because they are multilingual. They have focused on this aspect since they need to work with international clients. Evander soon joins the conversation, boasting about how talented he is. He is the only C rank in the team, while Yuna is D rank. The rest of the team are basically E rank writers. Evander takes a dig at Sung, reminding him that his last book isn't doing well, but he believes that the current task will help out on that. Sung then boasts about how good he is, saying the Red Eye writers are nothing compared to him. However, Yuna tells the group not to underestimate Red Eye Press. She reveals that the junior writers in the press are quite talented and formidable. Sung is shocked to hear this, believing that Yuna read his mind. He cannot believe that Yuna can hear thoughts in addition to her skill of superhearing. Evander tells them that they need to head to the Holy Order headquarters, where they will find out what the trial is going to be like. Moments later, they arrive at the headquarters of the Holy Order. Joining them are writers from the Red Eye Publishing House. In addition to this, there is Kay and his team from the First Hand Publishing House. Just then, a messenger from House Hugo enters the room to address them. The messenger has a mask over his face, and he tells the writers that they are all considered special by Julius. However, only one publishing house will be allowed to translate his work, which is why the competition is needed. Their only task is to retrieve the pen of the condemned man. This is an S-rank artifact used by Victor Hugo himself. The pen is considered to be powerful, but no one knows its power level. Sung is shocked when he hears the task, and he wonders why House Hugo is demanding that junior writers be the ones given the task to find such a powerful artifact. The messenger further reveals that the pen was stolen from House Hugo years ago, and they lost track of it. However, it seems the pen has resurfaced on the black market. He mentions that the pen was recently sold to someone in South Korea, but the buyer's identity remains hidden. Apparently, the pen was sold by the antiquarian, and this is why Julius has turned to the 3 best publishing houses in Korea to help find it. For the antiquarian, he has been captured, and they plan to extract more information from him. The antiquarian is thrown to the junior writers, urging them to interrogate him and get more information that might be useful out of him. While Sung and Salim are shocked at the treatment of the antiquarian, the writers from the Red Eye House are all daring to go. One of them opens his inventory and whips out a knife while the antiquarian begs to be spared. Without hesitation, the writer relieves the antiquarian of his head. Sung and Salim are shocked to see this, but the messenger appears to be impressed. He considers the Red Eye House to be the first to make a move. Not ready to interfere in their way of doing things, the messenger leaves, wishing them luck. Evander is mad at the writer, who killed the antiquarian, Arya. He demands an explanation from her, but she rudely tells Evander that she has no explanation to give. Sung is also pissed, and he is confident that the Red Eye writers know something that they don't. Evander fails to get his emotions under control. He unleashes his power, telling Arya that she had no right to kill the antiquarian. Evander is ready to go all out against Arya if it means learning everything that she and her team know. Salim screams at Evander, telling him to calm down. He believes that the Red Eye team already knows so much about the pen, which is why they killed the antiques dealer. Sung then asks Salim how the Red Eye team could have found out. Salim then tells his friend that there is only one reason why the Hugos tasked the Korean press to find the pen. It dawns on Sung that Salim might actually be up to something, since the Hugos could have easily tortured the antiquarian and gotten the pen themselves. Salim believes that the late antiquarian probably sold the pen to a Korean middleman who is working on behalf of the real buyer. Yuna then questions how the Red Eye team found out about the pen. Salim then says the middleman would have driven up the price of the pen by showing it around and in turn started a bidding war. Evander then mentions that only a powerful writer would want to buy the artifact, which automatically narrows their search down to members of the Blessed Bloodline. One of these powerful people includes Helena Hemingway, president of the Red Eye Publishing House. The Blessed Bloodline is a result of the one-child policy enforced by the Holy Order to try and regulate the number of exceedingly powerful characters. Since the 19th century, when the law was put in place, A and S rank writers have only been permitted to have just one kid. This is a sole heir who inherits the entirety of the family's powers. The descendants of the greatest writers in the past are currently the most powerful writers of the New Age. Yuna defends her mother, telling the team that her mother wouldn't have the courage to buy a stolen artifact from the Hugos, which automatically rules her out of the equation. Salim agrees with Yuna, but mentions the fact that the middleman would have still approached her. The middleman would also have approached other Blessed Bloodlines on the continent, and by this, Salim believes that Hemingway knows who the middleman is. It then dawns on Evander that Arya must have killed the antiques dealer based on Hemingway's orders. Jean suggests that Yuna ask her mother about the pen. Yuna considers this an impossible task since she is no longer talking to her mother. In addition to this, her mother would definitely not help her since she is already working for Nocturne Publishing Press too. Evander then assures Yuna that they are going to find a way around the problem. Just then, one of the Red Eye team members, Zack, makes fun of Yuna, telling her that she never should have left them. Yuna claps back at Zack, telling him that staying at the Red Eye publishing house would have meant working with morons. Zack tries to recover from the ultimate finisher, telling Yuna that she is currently a nobody since her mother is the one with all the powers. He takes it a step further by asking if she is truly Hemingway's daughter. He says she should have kept her father's name, but before he can finish the statement, Yuna reaches him with a scythe to the neck. Zack smiles evilly when he realizes that he managed to hit Yuna where it hurts. He then tells her to look behind her. Yuna turns around to see Arya behind her, ready to pounce if she attacks. Sung can see that things are slowly getting out of control. He knows that fights among the publishing houses have left several writers dead over the years. Salim screams at the bunch to stop going at each other, reminding them that they are in the premises of the Holy Order, which means fighting is not an option. Salim apologizes to the officers watching, assuring them that they will get on the mission given to them. However, the officers reply, telling the writers that they have not broken any law. The officers add that the walls of the room are made from reinforced concrete, which means that they can fight anyhow they want. Once Kay hears this, he realizes that things might take a drastic turn. Kay mentions that he and his team would simply excuse themselves so that the two great houses can go toe-to-toe against each other. After Kay's departure, Arya and Yuna prepare to engage in a duel. Arya looks more terrifying, and her aura fills the room, while Yuna appears to be the calm one. Yuna is disappointed that Arya told Zack about her father. Arya doesn't feel remorseful about this, and she only dares Yuna even more, asking her what she plans to do about it. Arya is a C-rank writer, which makes her even more dangerous, while Yuna is still D-rank. Yuna then tells Arya that she is ready to teach her that ranks don't mean a thing to anyone who comes from a blessed bloodline. Sung assesses the situation and figures out that the Red Eye team is stronger than they are. He knows that they are at a disadvantage, and he suggests that they leave instead. However, they have no way of convincing Yuna since she is very stubborn. Sung adds that Yuna stands no chance with her current level. Just then, one of the Red Eye team members, Frostblade, appears behind Sung. Frostblade warns Sung not to try and interfere in the duel. Frostblade is also a formidable opponent since he is a C-rank writer. Without further provocation, Frostblade decides to attack Sung. The next thing Sung sees is Frostblade's large weapon coming straight at him. Sung almost gets hit, but luckily for him, Evander jumps in to block Frostblade's attack. Evander is surprised that Frostblade has gotten stronger compared to the last time they saw each other. Frostblade does a majestic backflip while revealing that his latest book is selling really fast. Evander doesn't care if Frostblade has gotten some power, as he is ready to show him who is the boss. Sung can stare at the ensuing chaos that is unfolding. Sung is deeply worried since the Red Eye team obviously outclassed them in every area. The team has 2 C ranks in their midst with over 1 million reads. The only person who can match these 2 C rank beasts is Evander. Sung also wonders how long Yuna can hold her own against Arya. Sung is deeply worried since Arya is a formidable opponent who has made a name for herself by writing fantasy books. Her Phoenix Ascending series is her best-selling series, and they have sold over 1 million copies. With the way she's moving, she's a prodigy to become Red Eye's next CEO. Sung figures that Yuna has blessed blood running through her veins, but she obviously does not have her family's power since her mother is still alive. Sung concludes that Yuna doesn't have what it takes to stand against Arya. Just then, Evander screams at Jean, Salim, and Sung to get behind him, because he wants to cast a protective barrier. However, Frostblade is not about to let this happen. He doubles his attack and comes against Evander even worse than before. The clash between Frostblade's weapon and Evander's shield leaves a shockwave that rocks the area. Once Frostblade has Evander occupied, he tells the rest of the team to finish off Sung and the other 2. Without hesitation, the trio accepts the task. One of them charges towards Salim, aiming to punch his head off. But before he can reach Salim, Sung grabs him and tackles him to the ground. Sung is able to pin his opponent to the ground, but he soon notices that another member of the team has their eyes on him. The enemy is perfectly positioned to take Sung out since he is an archer. However, Sung miscalculated. He believed the guy was aiming for him, whereas he had his eyes on Jean. He fires the arrow straight at Jean, and Sung screams at Salim, telling him to help Jean out since the arrow is headed towards her. Salim wastes no time before putting his body in harm's way to protect Jean from harm. The arrow pierces Salim's body, spilling blood everywhere. Jean is stunned to see a bloodied Salim crouched over him. Salim doesn't get a moment of break before he gets kicked into the distance by another Red Eye team member. Sung watches his friend get battered with an arrow lodged into his shoulder. Sung freezes up, wondering if his friend is dead. The The sudden lack of concentration gives Sung's opponent the chance to free himself. Sung remains immobile, and the enemy lands a punch straight to his face. The moment this happens, the absorption system activates, and Sung immediately takes in 500,000 reeds. He receives some insane power-up from this. He immediately tanks his opponent's next attack and returns the favor with a blow to the face. A single blow to the face sends the dude flying out of existence. He hits the roof, shattering every bone in his body. He coughs out blood while the roof's integrity is shaken from the hit. The Red Eye team immediately turns their attention towards Sung, telling him that he is going to pay for what he just did. The archer fires an arrow at Sung, but he catches it like it's nothing. The archer is shocked to see this. Sung grabs the arrow and holds it like it's nothing. Just then, another enemy comes charging at Sung with a flying kick. Before the kick can hit Sung, he grabs his opponent's leg and pushes the arrow into it. Sung successfully takes her out of the equation, leaving her to scream on the floor. Sung then turns to the archer, telling him that he is next on the list. The archer realizes the imminent danger and immediately yields. Sung looks around to see that his friend is fine. However, Selim tells Sung not to worry about him, pointing to Yuna, who is already losing to Arya. Arya holds Yuna like she's nothing, and she's ready to impale her with her sword. Evander screams at Arya, urging her not to kill Yuna. Arya then reveals that she has no intention of killing Yuna, but she's going to make her pay for leaving the Red Eye publishing house. Arya is also restrained from killing Yuna because of her mother, but she wants to cut her face as punishment. Just as she's about to do something, she notices a projectile coming her way. She only manages to dodge the projectile at the last minute. The projectile hits the wall, leaving a considerable dent in it. Surprisingly, the projectile is none other than Sung's glasses. Arya turns to look at Sung, who is supposed to be an E-rank weakling, standing all tall and unfazed. Without a doubt, Arya knows that the glasses would cut straight through her if she hadn't moved at the last minute. Arya then decides to abandon Yuna and face Sung. Arya goes all out, telling Sung that he shouldn't have gotten himself involved. Since Sung is not Hemingway's daughter, Arya is ready to kill him. She unleashes her signature kill move, ready to take Sung out. Propelling herself at a great speed, she dashes towards Sung, armed with two dangerous swords. Suddenly, Sung lifts off the ground, and he meets Arya halfway. Sung is about to end her when Kim appears on the scene. She stops the two and throws them in opposite directions. Kim suspected that something like this would happen, which is why she came. Even with Kim's interference, Arya doesn't seem to be done. Sung, on the other hand, wonders if he truly stands a chance against Arya if Kim hadn't shown up. Kim turns to Arya, telling her to calm her nerves because she still has a bright future ahead of her. She points out the fact that the Hugo family stands to gain the most from the duel. Kim then reveals that this isn't the first time the Hugo family has pushed houses to compete for their favor. Kim further adds that the Hugo family will get to weaken the other families by tricking them into fighting each other. Arya doesn't believe Arya's take. She is convinced that House Hugo just wants to work with the best publishing house. Instead of getting mad, Kim calmly replies to Arya, telling her that she was in the same position as her 2 decades ago. This was a time when a war broke out, and it led to the annihilation of one of the greatest publishing houses in the country, Scrollgate. Kim is well aware that those in the room lost loved ones in the war, which left the country in chaos. Kim narrates that everything started with a simple challenge, just like the one they are currently undergoing. Even after everything that Kim said, Arya doesn't seem to care. Frostblade then walks up to Arya, urging her to back off. He suggests that they leave, and Arya agrees. She then tells Sung to pray that their paths never cross again. With this, Arya and her team walk out of the room. After they are gone, Sung asks Selim about his injuries. Selim assures his friends that he is fine since the arrow didn't go deep, and it also did not break any of his bones. Kim also assesses the situation, and she assures the team that Selim will be back on his feet in no time. She then suggests that they need to get him to a hospital. Sung tells Kim that he will take Selim to the hospital. Suddenly, Sung is hit with a migraine again. The absorption system activates, adding 1 million reads to his numbers. Because of this, he immediately unlocks the C-rank status. Sung cannot take the pain and ends up passing out too. Kim then suggests that they get Sung to a hospital too. At the Holy Order Hospital, Sung and Selim are admitted into the same room. While Sung is still out, Selim is busy texting an unknown person on his phone. From the text, he tells the person that he needs some very important information. In no time, the unknown receiver replies, assuring Selim that they can help him get whatever info he needs since this is their job. Selim tells the receiver that he needs to know the person who bought a stolen artifact from House Hugo. The receiver then asks Selim what type of artifact it is, and Selim reveals that it is an S-rank pen. Selim also adds the name of the artifact, but while still on the phone with this unknown person, Sung finally wakes up. Sung asks Selim what he is doing on his phone, and Selim replies that he is only looking for information about the pen. Sung is surprised that even in the hospital, Selim is still working hard. Just then, the rest of the team enters the room. Selim reveals that he got lucky and didn't suffer any major injuries. Evander acknowledges this, telling Selim that he really was lucky considering the fact that he got beaten up pretty badly. In fact, Evander is impressed that Selim is already getting back on his feet in just a day. Selim then showers praises on Sung for saving him. Evander also thanks Sung for saving Selim, Yuna, and Jun. Evander also apologizes for what happened since it was his responsibility as team leader to protect those who are under him. Evander promises that it will not happen again, but everyone just ignores him and goes about their own thing. Jen walks up to Selim to check on him, but Selim assures her that he is fine. Selim even takes off his shirt to show Jean. Jean is shy, and she turns around with her face completely red. Sung notices this and urges Selim to put on his clinical gown. Yuna then touches Sung from behind, giving him his glasses. She tells him that she has fixed the glasses for him. Sung is shocked because he didn't even expect to get a thank you from Yuna. Yuna then thanks Sung, and he appreciates the gesture. Sung is left to wonder if Yuna can truly hear his thoughts. Sung tells Yuna that she has nothing to worry about because she is with Nocturne now, and they need to have each other's backs. Sung suggests that it is time they get back to work since they have a pen to find. Sung puts on the glasses, but everywhere and everything becomes blurry. He is surprised that he can actually see better without the glasses. Sung mentions that the visit to the hospital has helped him since he doesn't need his glasses again. Yuna acknowledges this but urges Sung to get himself some underwear. Just then, Selim receives a text from his hidden contact, telling him that they have tracked down the pen. The contact reveals that the pen was sold on the black market in Seoul. Selim is shocked when he learns that the buyer is the head of a Korean publisher who was outlawed by the Holy Order. This said buyer is none other than Scrollgate. Scrollgate was once a big name in the country until it was forbidden and outlawed by the Holy Order. Back at the Hugos' residence, they keep receiving calls from their dispatch stewards to try and gain information about who they are looking for. Steward number 28 calls to inform them that his end is a failure. Arthur acknowledges him and tells him to return to the country. After this, they get a call from the steward number 29, who informs Arthur that there was a fight between an E rank and a D rank in Seoul. Before he continues saying anything, he starts getting all familiar with Arthur as the two seem to know each other. He completely ignores the scope of the mission, and he talks about how Arthur sent him to the other side of the world. Just then, Julius enters the room. It appears that the steward is also familiar with Julius, but immediately bows their head to Julius. The steward talks about how much of a fan they are and the fact that they have read Julius's books loads of times. They continue talking until Arthur reminds them to talk about their investigation. The steward reveals that Selim was able to hold his own against a D-rank writer during a bar fight. The steward also looked into Selim, and he found out that Selim is an orphan. The steward adds that there is no family record about Selim. Arthur then asks if the steward got close to Selim, and they reveal that they did. They reveal that they followed Selim, and while tailing him, they noticed something crazy. The steward reveals that Selim works for Nocturne Press, and he was injured in a duel, but a day later, he has completely healed. Arthur agrees that Selim's ability to heal from injuries is obviously higher than that of an E rank. Arthur asks the steward if they are very sure of what they are saying. Instead of answering the question with a simple yes, the steward starts talking about how good they are. In fact, they were able to get a strand of hair from Selim, and they plan to send it to Arthur so he can run an analysis on it. Arthur is proud of this, and he assures the steward that he is going to keep them informed. However, Arthur doesn't want the steward to let Selim out of their sight. Meanwhile, Evander and the team make their way to a restaurant to talk over their plan and how to find the pen. They go over what they know, and Selim reveals that the Red Eye team already knows who bought the pen. The antique dealer was also killed so that he wouldn't get the chance to reveal who the middleman is. Sung then comes to just one conclusion, and this is them meeting up with Hemingway to tell them everything that she knows. Sung wants them to force her whether she likes it or not. Yuna stares at Sung strongly when he says this, and it is quite understandable since she is her mother. Selim, on the other hand, doesn't think they are going to get anywhere trying to force the strongest writer in Korea to do their bidding. Yuna then adds that her mother will never help them. She says the woman is currently enjoying the fact that her publishing house has finally overtaken Nocturne in sales. This is the one time in her life that she has succeeded in anything. Sung notices that there is a bit of tension between Yuna and her mother. He then asks the lady why she hates her mother so much. Yuna replies with a cold tone, asking him why he wants to know. Selim then tries to calm the tension, telling the group that they are not going to get anywhere by arguing. Just then, Selim receives a message notification on his phone. Selim's sources tell him that Scrollgate used to do business with an antiquarian who had links with the criminal underworld. Selim's sources reveal that the said person calls himself Mr. Dealer, and they add the person's address to the message. In their final message, they urge Selim to be careful since Mr. Dealer is considered to be highly dangerous. After reading the message, Selim tells the group that he has an idea. Before he can even say anything, Yuna already warns him not to say anything about her mother. Selim assures Yuna that it has nothing to do with her mother. Salim then lies that he remembers an antique shop that he used to go to. He claims that this is a place where he usually goes to buy banned books, and it contains all sorts of objects from abroad. Salim continues by saying the shop owner is shady, and he is also a big name on the black market. Salim wants them to check out the shop because it might have what they are looking for. Evander initially ignores Salim's suggestion, asking him what he is doing at a shop that sells banned books. Evander is the all-righteous writer, and he reminds Salim that places that sell banned books are illegal, and a writer shouldn't visit them. Salim then lies that he only wanted to read books about heretics to get to know them more, just in case a fight breaks out. Sung supports his friend, telling Evander that he needs to be more flexible because some heretics have talents that need to be known. Jean then joins the conversation, talking about how there are no heretics from where she came from, but she is surprised that there are still heretics in Korea. Salim reveals that there are heretics in Korea and they are even established. He explains that most of them came to Korea after the Holy Order was formed. After the Holy Order was created by the greatest rulers of their time, they signed a pact with the 50 most powerful writer bloodlines of the age. In Britain, they had the Shakespeare dynasty and the Dickens dynasty. In France, there is the Hugo dynasty and the Zola dynasty. These 50 dynasties signed a deal with the Holy Order, promising to bring peace to the world. To also make sure that writers do not go out of control, the powerful ones are forbidden to have more than one child. The heirs are the blessed bloodlines of the current times, while the heretics are the other bloodlines condemned by the Holy Order. The Holy Order hunted down these heretics and killed them. However, some survived, and a number of them escaped from the Holy Order. The heretics ran away from Europe, which is the Holy Order's strongest base, and settled across the world to form underground factions to fight the Holy Order. Over the years, these hidden heretics have managed to steal printing presses from the Holy Order. They use these machines to publish their own books and in turn get stronger. Their whole plan is to get stronger and overturn their fate one day. Salim reveals that the heretics in Korea never stopped writing, which is why, if you look very well, you will find their books. Salim knows a few good books from the heretics, and he mentioned them. Salim soon gets carried away with praising the heretic books, but Evander smacks the table, telling him not to talk about heretics because they were banned for a reason. Evander reminds Salim that by reading their books, they are going to get stronger, which already defeats the whole purpose of being a legal writer. Evander gets really mad, asking Salim what he has to say in his defense. Jean notices the tension and suggests that they calm down. She apologizes for asking the question, but Sung urges her not to be sorry since it is a sensitive matter among writers. Sung then suggests that they go with Salim's idea since Yuna is not ready to put a call through to her mother. Salim laughs out loud but suddenly gets hit with a headache. This is due to the strand of hair stolen from him by the steward. Analysis is about to begin on the strand of hair without him even knowing it. Later that night, Evander and his team head into the underworld part of the city. Walking through the streets, they run into girls who are interested in the boys since they are writers. A dude even has the courage to walk up to Yuna to try and woo her, but Yuna doesn't argue with him. She just smashes him in the crotch with her leg, causing him extreme pain. The dude falls to the ground in pain while the team walks off to focus on their business. Not long after, they arrive at the shop Salim was talking about. Evander is still not comfortable with the whole thing, but Sung tells him that he is going to forget about his morality once they are able to lay their hands on the pen. Evander argues that they have no idea if the shop owner will even tell them anything useful. The team cautiously opens the door and enters the shop. Sung is shocked at how stacked the shop is. In addition to this, he senses several energies coming from inside the shop. He notices a pen carefully placed inside a transparent box, and this catches his attention. He is staring at the beauty of the pen when the shop's attendant walks up to him, telling him that the artifact is known as the Pen of the Deducer. The attendant further adds that the pen is said to have belonged to Sir Arthur and it is an S-rank artifact. One of his best sellers is the Sherlock Holmes series. Evander immediately springs up the conversation of destroying the pen since it belongs to a person who has been deemed a heretic. The attendant then reveals that the pen they are looking at is nothing but a replica of the real thing. Finally, the attendant introduces himself as Jack, and he asks the group what it is that he can do for them. Salim then tells Jack that they are looking for a specific pen. Salim goes ahead to mention the name of the pen and the origin of the pen too. Jack smiles, telling Salim that his boss would definitely have heard of it if it were in Korea. Once he mentions his boss, Salim uses this to probe further, asking him if the said boss is the owner of the shop. Jack says yes, and also adds that those in the antique business know him as Mr. Dealer. Salim is glad once he hears this, as he realizes that he is in the right place. Jack then tells them that the boss is currently on a call, but he assures them that Mr. Dealer will not take long on the call. Jack then suggests that they give the group a tour while they are waiting for his boss to finish with his call. They agree to take a tour of the shop, and Jack starts pointing them to different items in the shop. Jack shows them a golden candlestick that is said to have been owned by a fellow named Dickens. Apparently, Dickens worked by the candlestick every night, and over the years it absorbed some of the creative energy of its former owner. Jack reveals that any writer who writes in the candle's glow will receive very good inspiration. Evander immediately teases Sung, telling him to buy the candlestick. Sung agrees that he is going to buy it, but when they hear the price, they all think twice. Jack reveals that the last bid they received on the candlestick is $50 million. Even with this bid, they still refuse to sell since it doesn't meet the shop's evaluation of the candlestick. Just then, Jean sees a rod in a box. She asks about it, and Jack reveals that it is Arian's lance. Apparently, Arian was the first commander in the Holy Order to get to A rank at the end of the 19th century. Jack explains that Arian played a major role in cubbing the writers. Arian was also very dangerous, as he was able to take out loads of heretics during his time. Just then, Jack sees Yuna and Sung staring at the bookshelf. Jack walks over to them, letting them know that the shop has a vast library of ancient books. He further adds that each of the books is a piece of history. Jack decides to make an example of what he is saying. He reaches into the bookshelf and picks a book titled The Great Gatsby. Jack reveals that the book he is holding is the first edition of the title. Jack claims that the book is still infused with the energy of its author. Sung collects the book from Jack, asking him what he means by the book containing energy from its author. However, Sung gets his answer when he flips open the book, and he is hit with an immense aura. Sung finds himself in a state of ecstasy, and when he returns, he admits that the book is pretty impressive. Sung talks about what an S rank can easily do with the book. Yuna then asks Sung if he believes that he is going to surpass 1 billion reads in his lifetime. Confident as ever, Sung replies that he is definitely going to. Yuna can only hold her hand to her head in disappointment. Not long after this, Jack tells the group to follow him because the boss is finally ready to meet with them. Just as they are about to leave, Selim gets stranded at the bookshelf, and he touches what he is not supposed to touch. Suddenly, the bookshelf splits in half, but before anything else, Selim abandons the shelf and runs over to his friends. Jack then takes them into another room where Mr. Dealer is waiting for them. Mr. Dealer is surprised to be receiving writers from the Nocturne Press. Evander thanks the man for meeting with them, and he goes straight to the point. He tells Mr. Dealer that they are looking for a certain artifact. Mr. Dealer acknowledges the question, but he tells them that he also has a question for them before he answers theirs. He then asks the group who gave them the address to his shop. Selim immediately jumps in to tell the man that he usually comes to the shop to buy banned books. Mr. Dealer then walks up to Selim to get a closer look. He is surprised because he has not seen Selim before in his life. As expected, Selim cooks up another lie. Selim tells the man that he has always been discreet, which is why he is unknown. This is enough to get Mr. Dealer to believe, and he taps Selim on the shoulder, talking about how happy he is that his regular customers come back often. Mr. Dealer finally sits down to hear what Sung and his team want. Sung tells the man that they want to know about a certain artifact that has been in circulation in the Korean market. Sung makes it clear that they are looking for the condemned man's pen. Mr. Dealer admits that he has heard of the pen, but he suddenly changes his voice and the way he acts. He wears a scary look on his face while telling Sung and his team that they have come to the wrong place. The team immediately falls into defense mode before Mr. Dealer himself calms them down. He tells them that what he meant about being in the wrong place is that he doesn't have what they are looking for. Sung then asks him if he has an idea of who is in possession of the pen, and Mr. Dealer says no. He then adds that he would definitely not tell them even if he had an idea of who is in possession of the pen, since the buyer wouldn't want people asking questions about him. Selim then asks Mr. Dealer if anyone has approached him to try to sell the pen to him, and he confesses. He admits that he has even met the seller in person, but he didn't have the intention to buy since the heat on the artifact is too much. Even Mr. Dealer is smart enough not to cross the Hugos. Evander asks Mr. Dealer who the seller is, and he replies that it is an old French antique seller who is in some serious debt. Mr. Dealer then tells the group that he can tell them the name of the antique seller since he wrote it down somewhere. Mr. Dealer checks through his diary and tells the team that they have no reason to find the antique seller again since he is dead. Mr. Dealer then suggests that the group avoid getting involved in whatever concerns the pen. After telling them this, he reveals that he has something important that he needs to attend to. He tells Jack to escort the team to the exit, but Evander stops Mr. Dealer. He wants to know how they can verify all the information that he has given them, since he doesn't seem like a really uptight person. Mr. Dealer admits that he might actually know a few things, and Evander immediately gets fired up, saying he is ready to make the man spill everything he knows. Without moving a muscle, Mr. Dealer tells Evander to be careful, as his actions would determine if he lives or dies. Suddenly, they are all engulfed by a red aura. Sung looks behind them to see Arian's lance floating around, ready to pounce at a moment's notice. The team is forced to retreat after realizing that things might take a wrong turn. Evander is pissed that they didn't get anything from him. Yuna then points out the fact that Mr. Dealer is a powerful writer since he was able to easily summon Arian's lance. Evander admits that Mr. Dealer is powerful because he is a heretic who gains power from banned books. Evander suggests that they report him to the Holy Order, but Selim advises against this. Selim points out the fact that they don't know the dealer's real identity. Selim says there is the possibility that the dealer is a certified writer who is only hiding his writing name. Evander agrees with Selim, and he suggests that they head back so that they can gather more information on the dealer. Just then, Evander gets a call from President Damas, telling Evander not to conduct any investigation on the dealer. Evander is shocked to hear this, and just before he can get the chance to plead his case, Damas tells him to find another way to get the answers that he needs. Damas reveals that the Korean apostle himself put a call through to tell him that the dealer is off limits. Even though Evander is not pleased, he has no choice but to accept his superior's judgment. Evander then breaks the news to his teammates, telling them that Mr. Dealer is under the protection of the Holy Order. Sung is enraged when he hears this. He wonders why the Holy Order is protecting someone like Mr. Dealer, who is an obvious criminal. Sung turns to his friend to ask him if he also felt the strange aura inside the shop. Selim then reveals that he scanned the books on the shelf, and there was a particular book that stood out. He says the book refused to open because it was sealed by a powerful energy. Selim reveals that the energy he felt from the book is Arya's energy. Sung is shocked to hear this, and Selim adds that the energy signature is still very much fresh. Selim has no idea why Arya locked the book, but he is pretty confident that the Red Eye team visited the shop recently. Sung realizes that Arya and her team already have a huge lead on them from the start. Sung says they are going to be left behind if they don't pursue the only lead that they have. Evander then reminds him that they can't ignore the instructions that came from the Holy Order. Sung understands that Evander wouldn't want to go against the wishes of the Holy Order since he is a person who loves the Holy Order. Jean then asks Selim how he was able to scan the books. Selim confesses that he has a special skill that allows him to come into contact with books on a bookshelf once he touches the shelf. Selim says this is just a quick way of getting his information, but Jean considers it a very impressive skill. Selim then says it was something that he has been able to do since he was a kid. Evander wonders how Selim made use of this kid when he was little. Sung then narrates how Selim is always using this to help them do their assignments at school. Sung says Selim just scanned the books for the right answers. While Selim and Sung are laughing about this, Evander is keeping a straight face. Sung then asks him if he is acting the way he is because he still believes that Selim is a heretic. Evander just pushes the agenda to the side, claiming that he was just lost in thought. Evander is the first to leave, and he suggests that they meet the next morning to continue their investigation from scratch. Selim and John also take their leave while Yuna and Sung remain. Sung stares at Yuna, asking her if she is not going home. She says no, and she demands to know why Sung is still hanging around. Sung cannot believe that Yuna has refused to leave him alone. Since they both know why they are still hanging around, Sung tells Yuna to reveal what her plan is. Yuna says her plan is pretty simple. She wants them to wait for the owner to leave. Once he steps out of the shop, they are going to follow him. She believes that they might discover something crazy in the process. Sung is on board with the plan and he smiles at Yuna, saying he is starting to like her. Sung never took Yuna as one to disobey authorities, and she confesses that she is ready to do anything to make sure that her mother doesn't win. Without holding back, she wants to get the pin before the Red Eye team does. Sung realizes that Yuna is actually serious about what she is saying. Sung then teases her, saying he is waiting to see what a Nepo baby like her can do. Suddenly, the thug whom Yuna had kicked earlier that night showed up with some other thugs like himself. The thug is enraged, and he is prepared to beat Yuna into a stupor for reducing his street aura. Calmly, Yuna tells the goons to leave before she gets really angry. However, the thug has another plan up his sleeve. He is there with his cousin, who is a cop. He threatens Yuna, telling her that his cousin will easily give him a witness statement if she tries to fight back. The thug just wants to have fun with Yuna while she does nothing to defend herself. The cop is still talking about the writer's code when a blow lands on his face. The punch throws him into the distance like he is a feather. The thug is shocked to see this, and Yuna turns to him telling him that his witness is out of the picture. Instead of backing off politely, the thug still orders his men to go after Yuna. Yuna takes a fighting pose, and with just a strike, she sends all the thugs flying like they are nothing. She is now left with the useless brat who brought them. Trembling in fear, he starts begging, assuring Yuna that he is going to be a good boy henceforth. Yuna ignores his cries and kicks him in the crotch again, and this time, she does it harder. Yuna did all of this to show Sung that she is serious about doing everything it takes to beat her mom. Sung and Yuna get on board with their goal to follow the owner of the shop, but they wait for hours without the shop closing. The entire area has gone silent, and the shop is the only shop left. Sung wonders when Mr. Dealer will close his shop, and Yuna just urges him to shut up and stop whining. Shortly afterward, the door to the shop opens and their faces light up in anticipation, but are shocked when the attendant steps out instead of the owner. Sung is disappointed, and he suggests that they have a drink instead of wasting the night. Yuna initially rejects the drink, but Sung teases her, and she grabs the drink from him. Instead of drinking it slowly, she gulps it down like it is nothing. Sung then smiles again, telling Yuna that she is actually starting to impress him. Yuna then suggests that they return to the shop to keep watch just in case the owner steps out. Soon afterward, Yuna knocks herself out from too many drinks, and this is when Mr. Dealer decides to leave the shop. Sung frantically grabs Yuna, telling her that Mr. Dealer just left the shop. Yuna wakes up all energetic and screaming that she is good. She also wants to beat the owner up, but Sung quickly grabs her and pushes her down. The two start to follow him, and when Sung realizes that Yuna is getting all hyped to go after Mr. Dealer, he calms her down, telling her that they can't attack him yet since they need to know where Mr. Dealer is headed. Yuna agrees to this, but she still has a drink in her hand as if she is not drunk enough. They get a chance to see Mr. Dealer engaging in his other outside activities. Mr. Dealer approaches one of his debtors, demanding that he pay up. Out of fear, the debtor promises to give him his family's watch since it is pure gold. Sung is the only one paying attention while Yuna is totally uninterested in whatever Mr. Dealer is doing. She tells Sung that they can't keep watching the man conduct his extracurricular activities. She then tells Sung to keep an eye on their target while she quickly sorts something out. Sung wonders where the lady is going, but soon gets his answer when she walks out of a shop, gulping down another drink. Sung is shocked and cannot believe that Yuna is totally out of control. Sung decides to conduct a quick search on the internet to see if all the Hemingways behave the way she does. In one of his searches, he finds out that an issue of alcoholism runs in their family, which ends up becoming a mental issue for them. It finally dawns on Sung that the family is a natural addict when it comes to drinking. Yuna notices that Sung is on his phone and she asks him what he is doing. He nervously answers that he is on to nothing, and Yuna decides to just ignore him. Meanwhile, Mr. Dealer assures the debtor that he is pleased with the gold watch. Mr. Dealer is willing to take the watch as collateral, and the debtor heaves a sigh of relief once he realizes that he is not losing his life that night. However, Mr. Dealer lets the debtor know that he is never getting the watch back even if he repays all of his debt. Mr. Dealer walks off with the debtor staring at him, unable to do anything. Yuna and Sung remain on Mr. Dealer's scent. They wonder where he can be going that late. The two just continue following without questioning anything. At some point, Mr. Dealer feels their presence, and he turns around. The two manage to move before he spots them. They cramp themselves up in a tight corner, and Yuna ends up kissing Sung. Sung is shocked to see Yuna kissing him, but Yuna, on the other hand, is passionately doing it. Shortly afterward, Mr. Dealer meets with a strange fellow. Mr. Dealer addresses the strange fellow as Kian. Kian then opens the door to a building, asking him to enter. Meanwhile, Yuna is still kissing Sung until he finally tells her to stop. Yuna finally stops with a smile on her face. She suddenly pushes Sung to the wall, and she suggests that they find a way into the building. Sung is left in shock as he doesn't understand what Yuna just did. She kissed him and then proceeded to act like it was nothing. When Sung asks her, she simply reminds him of what she said. Her resolution to find the pen, no matter what she does, remains unchanged, and kissing Sung is just part of her means to getting what she wants. Sung's ego is bruised, and he tells Yuna that she shouldn't have put it like that. The two make their way to the building. The moment Kian spots them, he tells them to back off since the place is reserved for members only. Yuna is not ready to take a diplomatic approach, and she already swings a punch at Kian. Sung realizes that the girl is obviously still drunk, but before she does something that they can't recover from, he grabs her hand. He stops her while telling Kian that they are there on Mr. Dealer's recommendation. Kian is skeptical, but Sung continues with his lies. He tells Kian that Yuna is Hemingway's daughter. He points out the fact that Hemingway is one of Mr. Dealer's big clients. Kian still remains skeptical, but after giving it a deep thought, he tells the two to head inside the building. However, he leaves them with a warning that they are definitely not going to like what they find inside the building. The two ignore the warning and proceed into the building. Upon entering, they hear music blasting from inside the apartment. This reminds Sung of what someone once told him. He stares into the distance and recognizes what is happening. Yuna is genuinely confused, and she asks Sung where they are. Sung replies that the establishment is a place where the trash and the rich people come to have fun. In the distance is a pole dancer, and Sung is already excited while watching the dancer. But Yuna, being a lady, really doesn't care. She heads to the bar, telling Sung to do whatever he wants. Sung cannot believe that the lady is about to get herself another drink again. Sung suggests that she take a step back since she is drunk enough already. In addition to that, he tries telling her that they are in an unfamiliar environment. Everyone inside the building is definitely not a law-abiding citizen, and Sung wants them to avoid problems as much as they can. To make it worse, they are wearing their uniforms, which ultimately makes them stand out. Yuna then spots Mr. Dealer in the distance. He is talking to some unknown fellow who looks really shady. Yuna stares at the man, and he strikes her as someone she knows. Sung gets a better look, and this is when he realizes that the shady fellow is none other than the CEO of first-hand publishing house, Park. Sung wonders why the man is meeting with Mr. Dealer, and he assumes that the man is also looking for the pen since he is Kay's boss. Sung finally comes to the bitter truth that Park has always been a shady person. so it is no surprise that he is in a place meant for the underworld gangs. Yuna wonders if they are truly meeting because of the pen, and Sung says the probability of that is high since they are meeting in such a place. Sung suggests that they get closer so that they can hear what they are saying. However, Yuna stops him, telling him that they are going to be spotted if they move any further. She reaches into her pocket and brings out a suspicious-looking bottle that contains some strange liquid. She tells Sung that by drinking the liquid, she will be able to hear the two from across the room. Sung is curious about the contents of the bottle, and he asks her what it is. He assumes that it is strong wine, but Yuna says it is not. She tells Sung that the content of the bottle is a beverage that allows her to awaken the power of her bloodline. Yuna says her family is known to have very sharp instincts, and taking just a few drops of the beverage will help her to unlock these sharp senses. Sung doesn't care, and he thinks to himself that the beverage is nothing but alcohol. Yuna shocks him when she tells him to keep his comments to himself. This basically tells Sung that the lady can now hear his thoughts. Yuna says she needs to concentrate so she can hear what Park and Mr. Dealer are talking about. Yuna locks in and focuses all her senses on the table where her targets are sitting. She hears Park telling Mr. Dealer that he can't pay $1 million for just a name. Mr. Dealer, on the other hand, tells Park that paying $1 million is nothing to him since he is pretty rich. Park admits that he is rich, but he is just not ready to pay $1 million for a scrap of information. Mr. Dealer doesn't count it as scrap, but as very lucrative information. Mr. Dealer reveals that he is aware of the contract details and how much his press will make if they are able to land the contract. Yuna tells Sung that the two are talking about the translation contract. Park lets Mr. Dealer know that he is doing pretty well, even if he doesn't land the contract. But Mr. Dealer tries to convince him, telling him that he stands to gain more if the contract falls in his lap. Mr. Dealer tells Park that Nocturne and Red Eye presses will be left in shock if Julius ever picks first hand as the press to publish his new book. Upon hearing this, Park realizes that Mr. Dealer has a point. Without even realizing it, Park falls exactly where Mr. Dealer wants him. Park agrees to pay the $1 million, and Mr. Dealer assures him that he is not going to regret the decision. Mr. Dealer then moves closer to Park to whisper the name to him. This prevents Yuna from catching on to the said name. Park laughs out loud when he hears the name. He admits that he didn't expect the twist and realizes why the information was hard to come by. He admits to the fact that Mr. Dealer's tip has saved him a lot of money. Park mentions his decision to drop out of the race since it might end up costing the lives of his writers with what he has just learned. Park ends the meeting and then leaves. Sung asks Yuna if she was able to learn anything of importance, but she says no. However, she knows that Mr. Dealer knows who has the pen and all they need to do is make him talk. However, Sung is not on board with Yuna's plan. He reminds Yuna that Mr. Dealer is a dangerous writer on his own, and in addition to that, they have been instructed not to go close to him. Sung suggests that they continue tailing him instead. Even though she is still drunk, she agrees to Sung's plan to tail the dude. Mr. Dealer soon takes two girls with him and heads into one of the private rooms. Sung is still asking Yuna what they are going to do when he realizes that Yuna has made her move. She walks to the room, and just as she is about to open the door, Sung tries stopping her, telling her that they are going to be in big trouble if things go sideways. Yuna ignores the warning and kicks the door open instead. Sung has no choice but to follow her lead, and once they are inside the room, Yuna tells the girls to leave because she has business to discuss with Mr. Dealer. The girls run out of the room, and Mr. Dealer also stands up to attend to his unwanted guests. He is surprised that there are just 2 writers who came to see him from the previous 5. Sung is already pissing his pants since he knows what Mr. Dealer can do. Mr. Dealer believes that the rest of the group adhered to the warning from the Holy Order, which leaves just Yuna and Sung. Mr. Dealer admits that the 2 are brave, but he lets them know that it is a very foolish idea for them to have come to the establishment. Unknown to them, Mr. Dealer is holding an emergency button behind his back, and he has silently pressed the button to alert security. Kian gets wind of the alert, and he swings into action. Mr. Dealer tells the writers that their brave but stupid decision is about to cost them their lives. Sung screams at Yuna to get herself prepared as they are about to engage in a fight. Before Sung can even react, Kian appears behind him and smashes him to the ground. Kian also tells the writers that they have made a grave mistake by coming to the establishment. Sung passes out as he hits the wall, and Kian turns his attention to Yuna. Yuna realizes that she is screwed since she didn't even hear the dude enter the room in the first place, which shows how dangerous she is. Yuna decides to tap into her ultimate power since she can't be playing around with someone as dangerous as Kian. She arms herself with her sword, but a punch from Kian is enough to throw her off balance. Sung finally wakes up from his nap, and Yuna urges him to get on his feet since she could use his help. Sung teases Yuna, telling her that she is actually holding out. Sung stares at Kian and assumes that he is no more than a D-rank writer. Upon hearing this, Kian decides to get really serious with them. He tells them that he is going to teach them to respect their elders by making sure they don't leave the room alive. His aura triples from what they saw before, and the veins in his body become enlarged and scary. Kian says he is ready to have his revenge after many years. He pulls off his jacket to reveal the uniform underneath. Sung sees the uniform and realizes that Kian is a writer for a Korean publisher, but he doesn't know which publisher the design belongs to. Yuna then tells her partner that Kian appears to be even more dangerous than they thought. Kian comes charging at Sung. Sung manages to dodge the first 2 swings that Kian takes, but he fails to dodge the third one, and Yuna helps him parry the hit. This pushes Sung back, and the kind of pain he felt from the hit tells Sung that Kian is close to Evander's level. Sung is glad that Yuna parried the attack because the punch would definitely have shattered his ribcage. Yuna tells Sung that she has seen the uniform before, and Kian is most definitely not from a low-level house. Yuna racks her brain, and she is able to remember that Kian is a writer for Scrollgate. Sung is shocked to hear this, since Scrollgate is said to have been destroyed 20 years ago after they rebelled against the Holy Order. Yuna says the only explanation for this is that some members of the faction survived the war. Yuna is able to decipher who Kian is from his aura. Apparently, Kian is a C-rank writer who has 1.8 million reads to his name. He was also the one who wrote the biography of the great Muhammad Ali. Kian is impressed that they are able to figure out who he is and says he would have given them his autobiography, but this is not possible since he is planning to kill them. He charges at them, and Yuna opts to use her weapon as a shield, hoping to stop Kian's punch. However, the shockwave from the punch is too much, and it pushes the two backwards. While trying to figure out Kian's next move, he gets the better of them. He manages to bypass Yuna to punch Sung, who is behind her. Sung is thrown into the wall, but to his surprise, he can still fight even though Kian used his full strength when punching him. However, Sung is thrown into a dilemma. If he gets up to fight, Yuna will suspect him since an E-rank should not have been able to take the hit and survive. Sung decides that he needs to find another way to help Yuna without raising suspicions. Yuna is now faced with the bloodthirsty Kian. She knows that she can't beat Kian in her current state, but at the same time, she can't run away, leaving Sung behind. Realizing that she has no choice, Yuna brings out the beverage she has with her. She plans to drink it and show Kian that he is still a baby when it comes to competing with a writer with a blessed bloodline. Kian figures out what Yuna wants to do, and he rushes over to punch her before she can get the chance to drink the beverage. Just then, a pen comes flying at Kian at high speed. He barely dodged the pen before it lodged itself in the wall. Fear grips Kian because the pen could have easily killed him if he hadn't dodged it. He looks straight ahead, and he is shocked to see that Sung is still alive, and he is also the one who threw the pen. Sung's little interference has given Yuna the chance to drink the entire bottle, and the beverage's effects kick in immediately. Apparently, the Hemingway family has a way with addiction, which gives them a temporary power boost. Because of this power boost, Yuna is able to unlock her B-rank potential. She jumped from being a D-rank to being a temporary B-rank writer. Kian realizes how screwed he is, and just when he is thinking of running away, Yuna reaches him. Yuna grabs him and headbutts him into the ground. Even Sung is shocked at the kind of strange power that Yuna is displaying in his presence. It is as if Yuna's whole persona changed with the power boost too. Suddenly, Yuna appears beside Sung, looking all creepy and scary. Sung screams out in fear since he has no idea if Yuna is going to attack him or not. Fortunately for him, the temporary boost ends and Yuna returns to her usual self. Yuna is surprised that Sung is still alive, and she commends him for his durability. She tells Sung to get back on his feet since they have wasted too much time fighting Kian. Sung is forced to ask Yuna what he just witnessed, and Yuna reveals that what he just witnessed is the signature power of her bloodline. However, if she uses it too much, she is going to lose her mind and eventually go insane. Sung is shocked to hear this, but he is more shocked that Yuna is saying so casually, which shows how cold she is. Yuna grabs her scythe and suggests that they finish their business since they still need to talk to the dealer. Meanwhile, the dealer is checking Kian's well-being, but he is totally out. Sung urges Yuna to be careful since there is a possibility that the dealer is much stronger than Kian. The dealer stares at the two, giving them accolades for beating his underling. He then decides to give them one more chance to back off, but Yuna doesn't hesitate before cutting off his finger. The dealer screams out in pain as his finger flies off. Yuna then tells Sung that her guts are never wrong. She has suspected that the dealer is not a writer, and it seems that she is right. The dealer holds his hand in pain while screaming his voice out. Yuna is not ready to argue with him, and she just demands that he tell them where the pen is. The dealer tries to act tough, claiming that he is not going to tell them anything, but he only loses another finger for his stubbornness. He screams out in pain and finally comes to the wise decision that he is going to tell them where the pen is. The dealer picks a sheet to wrap around his lost fingers to stop the bleeding. The dealer admits that Yuna is dangerous and would possibly not stop until she cuts off all of his fingers. Yuna is glad that the dealer understands the severity of the situation. The dealer lets them know that by revealing who owns the pen, he is just signing his death warrant. But he doesn't mind as long as he doesn't die that day. Just then, the dealer says something crazy. He tells Yuna that she is currently staring at the person who bought the pen. Sung screams out in rage as he cannot believe that the dealer was the one who bought the pen all along. Sung then demands that he produce the pen, and this is when the dealer reveals that the pen is no longer with him. He has resold the pen to someone else. Sung demands to know who he sold it to, but the dealer hesitates, claiming that his associates will kill him if he reveals the name of the person who bought the pen. Yuna tells him that he can worry about his associates later because she's going to render him impotent if he doesn't say the name of the person who bought the pen. Yuna places her weapon at the man's most important spot to show him how serious she is. This scares him so much that he quickly agrees that he is going to tell them. He reveals that he never should have gotten involved in the first place because everything is too messy. The dealer turns to Sung, telling him to convince Yuna to back off so she doesn't get them all killed. Sung doesn't care, and he turns his face away. Once he realizes that the two are not going to back off, the dealer decides to tell them who he sold the pen to. Just as he is about to open his mouth to say so, Kian whips him up and jumps out of the window. Yuna and Sung try to follow, but they get to the window to see the dealer's body smashed to the ground. Once Kian has taken care of the dealer, he makes a run for it. Sung is pissed that Kian just killed their only lead. Yuna wants to run after him, but Sung stops her, telling her that it is risky. Sung points out the fact that the cops are going to appear on the scene anytime soon, so they need to disappear before then. Yuna agrees with Sung, and the two leave the scene. Once they are clear of the area, Sung asks Yuna how she figured out that the dealer isn't a writer. Yuna then replies that it is one of her senses as a Hemingway. She claims that they have very sharp senses, and Sung finally realizes why it seemed like Yuna could read his thoughts. Sung then points out the fact that something is amiss. He reminds Yuna that when they were in the dealer's office, he was able to manipulate Arian's lance when Evander threatened him. Sung is confused about how the dealer was able to do that when he is not a writer. Yuna admits that Sung is onto something since there is no one else in the room who could have done that. Just then, Sung gets a call from Salim, who tells him that he has been digging into the dealer. Salim reveals that the dude has connections with Scrollgate, but Sung already knows this. Salim then says he was able to get his hands on some pictures. In one of the pictures is a lady named Sumin. It turns out that the dealer's secretary who was in the room with them was Sumin. It finally dawns on them that it was Sumin who controlled Arian's lance. Yuna suggests that they head back to the antiques shop because there might be clues there. Sung suggests that they head there in the morning. Sung then leaves, claiming that there is something he needs to do before dawn. Sung then dresses up like Batman as he is ready to find clues on his own. He finally admits the truth that he has gotten stronger. He also notices that the injuries he sustained while fighting Kian have all healed up, and the dude was a C-rank fighter. Sung wants to confirm if his rank has increased or if he is just tripping. He breaks into Nocturne so he can use the power ranker machine there to know his fate. Sung is confident that the building will be empty since it is late already. However, he knows that he needs to be careful if he is actually gaining power. He fears that his father might be a heretic if this is the case. Since the Holy Order has a list of writers who have children, and he is not one of them, the best explanation is that his father is a heretic. He makes his way to where the machine is, and before he does anything, he puts the machine in incognito mode. He turns on the machine and places his hand on it. Just when the machine starts to calculate his power, Kim enters the room. Since Kim cannot see his face because of the hood and mask, she assumes that he is a heretic who snuck in to use the company's machine. Kim unleashes her weapon, which is a gun. She fires a shot that he manages to dodge, but he realizes that Kim is aiming to kill him, not warn him. Just then, Sung sees an opening in the window which is left behind by the gunshot. He wastes no time jumping out of the window since this might be his only chance to escape. He grabs the rope that he has in place, but loses balance and ends up crashing to the ground. He looks up to see Kim posing to take a kill shot. Sung realizes that this is the end for him because there is no way he is dodging Kim's shot. Just then, Kim decides to back off because she is not in the mood to kill anyone. She then turns around to look at the power ranker machine, and on the display, it has finished calculating Sung's power. The screen shows that Sung is a C-rank heretic with 1.2 million reads. Kim just shakes her head in pity because she is pretty sure that the Holy Order will not stop hunting down the heretic. Sung manages to hide behind a building to think about his near-death experience. He is disappointed that he almost died, and he also didn't get the chance to see his rank. In addition to this, the company will strengthen its security now that there is a break-in. However, Sung remembers that there is a skill called indexing that allows writers ranked from D upward to stock items. Sung tries using it, but it doesn't work for him. He decides to check the internet for explanations on how to use the skill. On the internet, he finds a tutorial video where Kim is explaining. Kim explains that writers can use the index to store items, and as they grow more powerful, the more items they can store. She explains that all they need to open the index is to visualize themselves putting away or taking out their desired items. After watching the video, Sung decides to put it to the test. He takes off his cape and visualizes a trunk. However, nothing opens, and he angrily throws away the cape. Just then, the index opens behind him, swallowing the cape. He is shocked that it worked. and this also helps him confirm that he is at least a D-rank writer. The next morning, Sung, Salim, and Yuna head to the antiques shop. Salim tells teammates that they need to be careful since the dealer is being protected by the Holy Order. Sung tells his friend to be careful because they already drew attention to themselves the night before. The trio plans to sneak into the store and get clues before nightfall since this is the only time that the shop opens. Just as they are about to get their plan underway, Evander and Jean show up. Apparently, Salim also sent Evander the information he found. Evander commends Salim for doing a good job because he must have stayed up all night to search for the information. Evander then urges his team to get a move on. He tells them that they need to get all the information that they need to confirm if there are surviving Scrollgate writers. Evander talks about punishing the Scrollgate writers, but Salim quickly reminds him that they are there for the pen. Evander calms down and agrees that the pen is their business. When it is time for them to find a way in, Jean offers to help. She shocks the team when she whips out her pick-locking tools. She puts on a cape and jumps to the shop's entrance to do her thing. She looks back to see if her team can see her, but once she ascertains that she has her privacy, she gets down to work. She opens her index and whips out a key from there. She inserts the key into the keyhole, and with it, she opens the door. Once the door is open, Jean calls on her team members. She is relieved that picking the lock was actually easier than she thought. Everyone on the team commends her for breaking into the shop in seconds. Salim teases her, telling her to become a burglar if her career in writing doesn't work. Just then, Evander gets a call from Damas, who informs him that he just got a call from the Apostle of Korea. Damas says the Apostle is mad because the dealer was found dead and there were signs of torture. Damas asks Evander if he had anything to do with what happened to the dealer, and Evander swears to the president that he had no idea that the dealer was dead. Evander tells the president that they let the dealer go just like he ordered. Damas hears this and calms down. He tells Evander to continue with the search for the pen, but urges him to be careful about it and not ruffle any feathers. Evander assures the president that he will adhere to his instructions. After the call, Evander tells the team that someone got to the dealer before them. Evander believes that Astria and her team of Red Eye members are responsible for this. Sung and Yuna quickly play along, agreeing with Evander that the Red Eye members are responsible. Evander then tells the team to get down to searching the shop since they are running out of time. He tells Jean to follow him so they can look through the secretary's office. Evander orders the rest of the team to search the store. Sung is about to take on his rebellious form when his attention catches the deducer's pen that Jack spoke about the night before. He remembers Jack saying the pen is a replica of the real thing. Sung walks over to where the pen is and steals it before running over to meet Salim. Salim shows Yuna and Sung the book he was talking about the day before. He says the book is the one that Arya locked with her powers, but surprisingly, the book's cover appears to be blank. Sung tries opening it by force, but it won't budge. Sung says it is important they open the book because it might be connected to the pen that they are looking for. Salim then tries something else. He tries slipping into the book, but even this doesn't work. Salim refuses to give up. He concentrates on trying to slip into the book, but his nose starts to bleed because he is exerting too much force on himself. Sung sees this and screams at Salim to give it up. Salim is forced to back off, but he is confident that he was very close to getting access to the book. Even though he didn't see anything, he managed to gather some information from the book. Salim reveals that the book is not a novel, but an accounts ledger. It immediately dawns on Sung that the book will contain information on who bought the pen, which is why Arya sealed it. Sung asks Salim if he was able to see the name of the person who bought the pen, but he says no. Salim wants to try it again, but Sung suggests that he rest first. Sung was already scared that Salim would die. Meanwhile, Yuna is staring at the shelf. Just then, she pulls one of the books, and this unlocks a hidden room behind the shelf. Sung is impressed, and he asks her how she did it. She reveals that after looking at the books, that was the only one that didn't have dust on it. Sung is impressed, but freaked out at the same time. Evander and Jean come rushing back to the store since they heard a noise. Sung assures them that it is nothing to worry about. He mentions that they only found a secret entrance. The five then use the entrance that leads down into what seems to be a basement. They arrive at the end of the stairs only to come across something that they never expected. At the end of the stairs is Scrollgate's vault. Evander is stunned, and he asks Salim if he thinks the vault is a hideout for Scrollgate writers. Salim doesn't have a definite answer to this since the official statement says all of the Scrollgate writers were wiped out 20 years ago. In addition to this, their headquarters were burned to the ground. But while Salim was looking through the archive, he found two names that were not on the Order's kill list. The two names were Kian and Sumin. Apparently, they were nothing but junior writers at the publishing press, and they found a way to escape the Order's punishment. Yuna believes that they are plotting to restore their publishing press to its glory, while Sung believes that they might just want payback for what happened. Salim agrees with Sung and says whatever it is that Scrollgate is up to is something sinister. Salim turns around and suggests that they leave to warn the Holy Order. However, Evander grabs him and stops him. Evander has no interest in going anywhere until he has made the writers pay for their sins. 20 years ago, Evander was still young and he was living with his parents. His mother was a writer for Nocturne, and she just finished her manuscript on William Shakespeare, which she expects to help her climb the ranks. His mother was confident that she had found a breakthrough since the prestigious Shakespeare house was willing to publish her book. Evander's father had a way of teasing his wife about her story. Apparently, she was working on a new genre, which is the isekai genre, and the Shakespeare press wants to use this to break into the Asian market. Just then, they hear a knock on the door. While holding her manuscript, Evander's mother walks to the door only to get stabbed in the tummy. The paper she is holding falls from her hand as she screams in horror. She falls to the ground before her husband realizes that there is an intruder. He rushes over, but he gets attacked by the intruder too. A single punch from the intruder sends the man into the wall, ultimately killing him since he is a regular person. Evander's mother is still alive and watches as her husband dies. It turns out that there are 3 intruders, and they all have a cape over their faces. Apparently, the attackers are from the Scrollgate publishing press, and Sumin was one of them. Sumin claims that the woman stole her novel idea and planned to publish it before her. Evander's mother is genuinely shocked to hear this. But before she even gets the chance to plead her case, Sumin slashes her on the chest. This slash was enough to kill the woman, and while all of this is happening, Evander is hiding under a chair. He could only watch as his parents were killed in cold blood. This is why the mission is pretty personal to Evander. Selim understands Evander's pain, but lets him know that the situation is a pretty dangerous one. Selim points to the weapons and the blood on the wall, saying the Scrollgate writers probably used the area to practice. However, Evander believes that Kian and Sumin have no chance against the 5 of them, since they are C and D ranks, respectively. Yuna then joins the conversation, reminding Evander that they only came to find the pen, not to settle personal scores. Sung agrees with Yuna, saying that they need to warn the Holy Order. However, before they do this, Sung suggests that they take a look around while there is no one to disturb them. Sung looks Evander in the face and assures him that they are going to end Scrollgate right there and then. Selim then suggests that they quickly look around before the writers come back. Selim is worried that things might go south since the writers have lost their cover person, who is the dealer. Selim believes that the Scrollgate writers would want to clean things up to make it seem like they were never in the vault. Just then, Jane notices a cover on the wall and she calls her friends to pay attention to it. Sung, being the curious cat, suggests that they check out what is under the cover instead of guessing. He grabs the piece of clothing covering the wall and pulls it away. To their utmost surprise, sitting under the cover is a printing press. They are all stunned, and Evander wonders what the printing press is doing in the vault. Selim believes that the writers must have gotten their hands on it by stealing it from the Order in ways unknown. There is no doubt that the Scrollgate writers are using the machine to increase their powers. Sung gets even closer to the machine, and he touches it. The machine radiates a very bright golden light that keeps Sung totally drawn to it. Sung has never seen one up close, and seeing this leaves him perplexed. Sung then touches the printing press, and he suddenly finds himself in an unfamiliar environment. Sung finds himself in a dark realm but believes that it is an illusion. He looks to his front to see a writer working on his book. Sung then walks over to the writer to try to talk to him. After getting a closer look, Sung is shocked that the image sitting in front of him appears to be his father. Without wasting time, Sung starts questioning the image, asking him why he didn't save his mother when the attacker came. Just then, his father speaks out, telling Sung that their power usually corrupts people. Sung wants to continue talking, but his father shushes him. Just then, a scary red image appears in front of Sung. It jumps at Sung, scaring him to his bones. The fear of this image forces Sung to return to the physical realm. He falls to the ground but has no idea what is wrong. The only thing he remembers is getting close to the core of the printing press and then getting sucked into a dimension that he doesn't know. Just then, Selim calls Sung to come over. They have found a book called The Persecuted, which is a masterpiece by Nebula. Surprisingly, they have printed thousands of copies of the book. Even Evander is left to wonder what the books are doing there. Apparently, the book was banned because Nebula was said to be one of the most powerful heretics in Asia, and to make it worse, nobody even knows her identity. This is when it dawns on Sung that Sumin might actually be the same person as Nebula. And with all the books she has sold over the years, there is no doubt that she is no longer a D-rank writer. Speaking of the devil, Sumin herself enters the room. She is holding Arian's lance, and she tells Sung that he is right with his deduction. However, she lets them know that none of them will live to be able to share their discovery. Sung realizes that Sumin has ranked up, and she is now a B-rank writer. Fear grips him since he knows that their chances of getting close to the lady are pretty slim. He screams that everyone should run back up the stairs. Just as they are about to reach the stairs, they run into Kian, Jack, and 2 other writers. Selim is shocked to see Jack with the Scrollgate writers. Kian smiles evilly at Yuna, telling her that she has no chance of using her bloodline's power this time around. Jean is shocked to learn that Yuna has fought Kian already. Selim urges Jean to get behind them, telling her that Yuna and Sung managed to take down Kian before. Kian lets the team know that he is not there to play with them. He is there to make sure that they regret their decision to come to the vault. Kian is already armed with his brass knuckles as usual, ready to beat the team up. Sumin urges Kian to calm down since they need to know if anyone else aside from the five is aware of their secret. Sumin says they can go right ahead to kill them once they have cleared the air on this. The entire team is gripped with fear when they learn that they are about to be tortured by Kian and his goons. Jack is the softest in the group and he begs Sumin not to touch the group. He lets Sumin know that the group is looking for just a pen and that's all. Jack believes that the group had no intention of finding them. However, Sumin tells Jack that he is very naive. She reminds him that the dealer is dead because of them, which also means that they have lost their cover. Sumin says the group stands in the way of Scrollgate's rise to the top, which is why they need to be eliminated. Jack remains adamant, and he suggests that they just find another hideout instead. However, Evander gets mad, saying he is not going to allow any Scrollgate writer to live. Evander opens his index and activates a quick read, which immediately grants him 1.5 million reads. Evander has always wanted to kill Sumin because of what she did, and he is not about to pass up the opportunity. Evander arms himself with body armor and a shield, telling Sumin that she is going to pay for murdering his parents. When Sumin hears this, she laughs out loud. She tells Evander that she knows who he is, and she calls him the plagiarist's son. This gets Evander mad, and he dashes towards Sumin at great speed. He almost catches her with his shield, but Sumin is faster, and she is able to dodge the swing. Sumin admits that Evander is fast, but she lets him know that he still has no chance against her. Evander's miss gives Sumin an opening, and she kicks Evander so hard that he hits the ceiling. Even with how powerful Sumin's hit is, Evander is not ready to back down. He makes another leap towards Sumin, while Sung screams at him to wait. Evander ignores Sung, and Sung understands why Evander is mad since Sumin and her clique were the ones who killed his parents. Sung knows that Evander is only going to fight until he dies. Once Sung realizes that this is their reality, he calls on Salim and Yuna. He tells them that they need to deal with the other writers before they can get the chance to help Evander. Kian smiles when he realizes that Sung is mobilizing his team. Kian teases Sung, reminding him of what happened the last time they fought. Sung then tells Kian that things are going to be different this time around. Sung makes a plan with Jean to shoot up the printing press core, and in the resulting explosion, they are going to make a run for it. Jean picks up one of the guns hanging on the wall and aims it at the core. Kian realizes what she is about to do and runs toward the girl. Sumin also runs toward her, but before she can get to Jean, Evander blocks her. Desperate to save the printing press, Sumin throws her spear at Jean. Salim screams in horror as the spear travels toward the girl at high speed. She manages to dodge the spear at the last minute, all thanks to Salim's warning. Just then, the image of a knight appears right in front of Jean, and the knight grabs the sword. The knight looks really scary and he turns to Jean, calling her a heretic and telling her that it is time that she dies. Jean is too stunned to move when the knight throws the spear at her, but fortunately Salim pushes her out of the way before she is impaled. Sung figures out that the knight is pretty dangerous, and he picks up a weapon to defend his teammates. He dashes toward the knight with a weapon in hand, but the knight easily knocks Sung back. Even with how strong the knight is, Sung is not ready to give up. He is ready to take on the knight, destroy it, and then destroy the core of the press machine too. Without hesitation, Sung dashes toward the knight again, but Salim screams at him to back off. Salim reveals that the knight is Commander Aryan, who killed thousands of heretics during the purges. Because Sumin is a B-rank writer, she has been able to make a perfect copy of Aryan's character after writing him in her book as an antagonist. Sung hears this and calms down a bit. He realizes that Aryan is an A-rank writer, which obviously makes him a powerful opponent to go against. Sung believes that he can still get the jump on the knight since he is just a copy of the real deal. In addition to this, the knight is being sustained by energy coming from Sumin. Sung then tells Yuna to take care of Salim and Jean while he faces off with Aryan's copy in an attempt to destroy the core of the printing press. Yuna acknowledges Sung's orders and prepares to take on any opponent who comes close to her or the rest of the team. Sung then takes a perfect aim at the core with his spear. He wants to destroy the core and the knight at the same time. Sung throws the spear at a great speed, but to his surprise, the knight grabs the spear like it is nothing. Aryan's copy breaks the spear, telling Sung that he is going to prevent him from passing through. Sung figures that Sumin is currently powering the knight with a bulk load of her power. Salim then calls Sung's attention to the fact that the knight isn't attacking, which means he has been instructed to only prevent them from touching the core. Sung acknowledges this. He knows Sumin is weakening herself just so she can power the knight. Sung realizes that everything relies on how the fight goes. He is aware that Sumin will abandon the need to protect the core once she figures out that they already have the advantage, and this will only force her to wipe the floor with them. Kian then orders the rest of his team to go after Yuna since she is the only one making a stand. Kian forces Jack to join the attack. They all rush toward Yuna's spinning scythe. Just as they are about to reach her, Salim screams at Yuna, telling her that Jack is going to die if he runs into the weapon. This forces Yuna to change her strategy. To avoid killing Jack, she stops spinning her weapon and hits Jack instead. The other two get the chance to attack Yuna, but she easily grabs them too. However, this leaves her pretty open since she has to deal with two enemies at the same time. Once she is in the open, Kian's plan comes to life. He dashes toward Yuna, aiming to one-shot her once and for all. Just as he is about to reach Yuna, he changes direction and heads directly towards Sung, who is already distracted. Apparently Sung was his target from the start. Kian is able to land a perfect hit on Sung, and this scares the fuck out of Yuna, who believes that Sung is done for. However, Sung remains standing even with Kian's powerful punch. Sung turns to look at Kian, and he confidently tells him that it is going to take more than to knock him to the ground. Kian is shocked and impressed at the same time. He mentions that only a C-rank writer could have taken the hit the same way Sung just did. However, Kian still has a trump card that he is hiding. Kian's energy takes shape, and Sung admits that this is a problem. Sung tries to keep track of Kian, but before he knows it, the dude appears right in front of him. Kian grabs Sung, ready to finish things once and for all. At the same time, Sumin gives Aryan another task. She tells him to kill Sung, and without hesitation, Aryan throws his spear at Sung. The spear heads directly for Sung, whose movement is already restricted by Kian. Salim sees this and rushes over to his friend. He manages to jump between Sung and the spear in an attempt to die for his friend. Suddenly, the room is engulfed in a dark aura, and they hear a voice talking about answering a call to protect his master's friend. Sung turns around to see that the spear didn't pierce Salim's body. It only reached his neck before the unknown force grabbed it. They see a giant eye staring down at them, and the voice reveals that he is a humble servant, leaving Salim and Sung totally confused. Just then, the dark aura dissipates, and Sung sees the deducer's pen levitating right in front of him. He remembers taking the pen from the store when no one was watching. Sung is surprised to find out that the pen isn't a fake since it just saved his friend's life. Sung is blown away by the realization that he just wielded an S-rank artifact. This was a pen that belonged to Sir Arthur, who wrote the Sherlock Holmes novels. The deducer's pen continues speaking and points out the fact that Sung, his master, has somehow found himself in a very bad situation. The pen assures Sung that he is going to help him, even though his power channels through Sung. The pen wants to finish the fight once and for all, and he asks Sung a very important question. He asks him what weapon is best suited for defeating his enemy. Sung then asks for a lance, since this is Aryan's weapon, and he plans to defeat him with his own weapon too. The deducer's pen brings forth a lance, and Sung charges at Aryan with the spear. Aryan aims for Sung's head, but he manages to block the attack with his own spear. Kian wants to use Sung's distraction with Aryan to get a quick kill, but Yuna stops him. Yuna almost decapitates him with her scythe, but he manages to block the attack with his brass knuckles. Yuna then tells Sung that she and the rest of the team will take on Kian and his clique. They suggest that Sung focus on fighting Aryan instead so he can destroy the press. Sung realizes that they have left everything to him, and he must come through. He still cannot figure out just how powerful Aryan is, but he is confident that he can take him on thanks to the deducer's pen. Sung charges at the knight and manages to land a hit that sends the knight flying. Just when the knight is still trying to recover from the hit he just suffered, Sung appears above him. Sung hits him from above, smashing him to the ground. Once Aryan is on the ground, Sung raises his spear to finish him off. Sumin turns back to witness this, leaving her to wonder just how Sung was able to defeat Aryan. She decides to go all out and transfer more of her power into Aryan. Just as Sung is about to finish Aryan off, he grabs Sung on the wrist. Aryan stands back up looking more powerful than before. Aryan stands tall above Sung, ready to finish him off. Sung realizes that he is in a mess when he sees this. Sung cannot believe that Sumin is willing to weaken herself as long as she powers Aryan. Sung gets thrown into the wall like he is nothing. Sung loses himself, but Aryan comes at him again. He kicks him again, and while Sung is still in the air, Aryan comes after him again. Sung realizes that Aryan has gotten very much stronger than before. Sung immediately orders the pen to bring forth a shield and protect him. A shield manifests right before the spear reaches Sung, but the force from the spear is still too much, and it pierces the shield. The spear slightly misses Sung's head, but Aryan resorts to using his fists. He lands a punch on the shield, shattering it. The shockwave from this sends him flying again, and he crashes into the wall. Sung starts to come to the realization that he might be too weak to go against Aryan because Sumin gave him too much power. Sung has already come to the conclusion that he is going to die. Just then, the deducer's pen tells him that he has solved another mystery. The pen reveals that he has found a link that connects Sung to Commander Aryan. Sung is shocked and confused at the same time, but the pen urges him to have some faith. The deducer's pen tells Sung to get on his feet, and just then, Aryan spots something crazy. He is shocked to see Sung holding a sword that belongs to Victor Hugo. Meanwhile, Yuna is struggling with the opponents she is going up against. She is overwhelmed, and she figures that the only solution is to resort to her bloodline's power. While the enemy is waiting for Yuna to tire out, she whips out the beverage. She is worried because she just used the power less than 24 hours ago. She knows the risks attached to using the power again so soon. Without a doubt, she might go mad, and this is irreversible. Just as she is about to make the crazy decision to use the potion, Sung appears in front of her. Sung grabs one of the enemy riders and easily knocks him to the ground. He wastes no time turning his attention to the next person and delivers a powerful kick that sends her flying. Kian is shocked as he wonders how Sung managed to get to them. Kian wasn't expecting Sung to be a problem since he is busy with Orion. Before Kian realizes what is happening, Arion appears before him and hits him so hard, Kian crashes into the wall, spilling blood everywhere. In a surprising turn of events, Arion bows to Sung, telling him that he is ready to assist him in wiping out the heretics. Everyone is shocked to see this, and Yuna screams at Sung, asking him how he is able to get Arion on his side. Even Sung has no idea how he is able to pull this off, and he just assumes that Arion has mistaken him for someone else entirely. Sumin sees this and she is surprised, but this moment of worry gives Evander the chance to land a good hit on her. Sumin cannot believe that Sung has taken over her creation. Since it has come to this, Sumin decides that the best way is to go all out and wipe out the enemy team. Sumin recalls Arion so she can return to her optimal state. Evander rushes towards Sumin, but Sumin smiles as she knows that Evander is about to get obliterated. She lands a powerful hit that hits Evander so hard that it throws him into the wall. Sumin then runs at Evander, aiming to kill him, but just then, Yuna screams at Sumin, telling her to drop her weapon. It turns out that Yuna already has her weapon around Kian's neck, and she is prepared to decapitate him. This forces Sumin to stop just as she is about to kill Evander. It turns out that Yuna was able to figure out that Sumin and Kian were lovers, judging by how they talked to each other before the fight. Kian doesn't mind dying as he screams at Sumin, telling her to kill the Nocturne Rider so she can get everyone else out of the vault. Once Evander figures out that Sumin is distracted, he grabs the spear from her and uses all of his strength to launch a powerful shield attack that sends Sumin flying. Sung then jumps behind Sumin and places his sword in the perfect position to impale Sumin. Sumin falls onto the sword, piercing her stomach. She manages to get off and admits that she underestimated Sung. However, she is not ready to give up just yet. She wants to make a move, but turns around to see her boyfriend on the verge of being decapitated, and she takes a chill pill. Even Sung knows that Sumin might be badly injured, but she is definitely still a threat to them. Sung is pretty sure that Sumin will go ahead and kill all of them if she decides that she has nothing to lose. Sung then decides to take a diplomatic approach. He tells Sumin that they are not there for Scrollgate. Sung promises Sumin that he is going to allow her and her subordinates to keep their lives if she tells them where the pen of the condemned man is. Sumin is not ready to cooperate as she believes that her cover is already blown. She points out the fact that the dealer is already dead, and the Holy Order will soon be upon them. However, Sung lets her know that there is still time for her to escape. Sung tries convincing her that her dream to save Scrollgate doesn't have to end in the vault. Sumin is confused, as she doesn't know if she can trust Sung. Jack also chips in on the conversation, urging Sumin to trust Sung and his guys, since they still have hope of rebuilding everything if they are alive. Just then, Evander comes charging in hot with the aim of killing Sumin, but Sung manages to block his attack. Sung tries to call Evander to his senses. He tells him that Sumin still has enough in her to kill all of them. Sung doesn't want Evander to throw his life away all in the name of avenging his late parents. Sung tells Evander that his parents died so that he could continue living. Once Evander hears this, he decides to back off, telling Sung to do whatever he wants. Sumin witnesses this and decides to trust Sung. She promises to give him the buyer's name, but tells him that she is not doing him a favor since anyone who learns the name is doomed already. Sumin is pissed that everything she has worked for over the years has gone down the drain, which is all thanks to the pen. She reveals that the pen was not even part of their plan. They only acted as a middleman and resold the pen immediately. The artifact was worth $1 billion, which is enough money for them to buy whoever they want in the Holy Order. In fact, the money could have helped them to buy those who have the power to lift the ban on Scrollgate. Meanwhile, Evander is on a call with the Apostle of Korea. The Apostle gives Evander his orders, and Evander assures the man that he is going to follow them to the letter. Jeanne is keeping the enemy riders at bay when she suddenly sees Evander walking towards her, looking all scary. Sung, on the other hand, is interested in knowing who is willing to buy the pen of the condemned man for $1 billion. Sumin reveals that the buyer is one of the blessed families who have been a rival to the Hugos since ancient times. Once Sumin realizes that she cannot convince Sung to back off from the mission, she decides to say the name. Sumin reveals that the pen was bought by one of the most powerful writing families in the world. She finally mentions the buyer's name, and it turns out to be Isabella Dickens. Sung is shocked when he hears this because if the Hugos find out, an all-out war will break out between the two families. Sumin then mentions why it is imperative that no one knows about it. Sumin reveals that they will be in danger if the Dickens family finds out that they have betrayed them. Yuna agrees that the sudden turn of things has complicated everything. She is aware of how powerful Isabella is. Not only is she powerful, but she is also a sadistic brat. Yuna recalls that her aura was very cold, which is why she is a psychopath. Sung is shocked that Yuna knows Isabella. Yuna then mentions the fact that she and her family lived in England when she was little. Back then, she met Isabella on a few occasions. Just then, Jack comes running over to them for help. Sung asks him what the problem is, and he points to where the hostages are supposed to be. Sung realizes that there is no one there and immediately rushes over with Yuna to investigate. Sung reaches there to find Jean lying unconscious on the floor. As if this is not enough, Kian and the others on his team have been killed. Sumin also joins them, and she is stunned to see her lover's dead body resting against the wall. Sumin falls to her knees, crying like a baby. She assumes that Sung betrayed her only to get what he wants. Just then, Evander appears from behind and decapitates Sumin before anyone can react. Evander claims that he is doing this for his parents, but says he is not done. He turns to look at the last member on the team, Jack. Jack is hiding behind Salim, but Evander doesn't care. Salim tries to call Evander to reason, pointing out the fact that Jack wasn't even a part of everything. However, Evander doesn't mind killing Salim alongside Jack. Before he can reach Salim, Yuna and Sung stop him. Yuna urges Evander to get a hold of himself, but he is already taken over by rage. Evander's entire goal is to kill Jack. Sung admits that Evander is pissed off with everything, but he lets him understand one thing and one thing only. Sung tells Evander never to threaten his friend, and Sung punches Evander hard in the face. Evander is thrown into a wall and he takes a quick nap. When he comes to his senses, Yuna and Sung are standing in front of him. Yuna tells Evander that he was way out of line by killing Sumin and her team. She reminds Evander that they promised not to harm them, but he broke that promise. Sung then walks over to Evander, telling him that he is now free of his burden. Evander then stands up and walks over to Salim. Salim believes that Evander is coming to hurt Jack, and he tries to shield him. Surprisingly, Evander falls to his knees in tears. He apologizes for almost killing him out of rage. He confesses that he was taken over by the rage of avenging his parents, but now that he has killed his parents' killers, he still feels empty on the inside. Soon afterward, the Holy Order shows up at the vault to reclaim the printing press. When everything calms down a bit, Sung and Salim are seen talking in an airport waiting hall. Sung mentions how complicated everything has become. They have been chasing the pen around for a long time, but now they have to travel to London to try and steal the pen from a psychopathic S-rank writer. Even though the journey might be stressful and dangerous, the two are still excited to travel because it is Europe, and it is their first time too. Meanwhile, the two are being stalked by one of Julius's stewards. The steward has their sights on Salim. They want to kill Salim so they can gain Julius's favor and overthrow Arthur as the chief steward. From the steward's solo conversation with themselves, it turns out that she is a lady. She is ready to do everything to win Julius's favor and possibly marry him. Julius and his team already assumed that Salim is the one they are looking for since the system recognized him as the one who defeated Yogwe. The steward has been watching Salim, and everything she has seen so far points to the fact that Salim is extraordinary. The steward believes that Salim possesses the power of a blessed bloodline that hasn't awakened yet, which is why Salim is able to enter books. Once the steward figures out that she is alone with Sung and Salim, she brings out her weapon, ready to take Salim down at once. Just as she is about to carry out the plan, the DNA analysis comes in. The steward is shocked to see that the DNA result is negative. The steward stands there in shock, finding it hard to believe what just happened. She stands behind the two to listen to their conversation. She hears them talking about how Salim took the fall for Sung concerning the bar fight. The two tease each other on how many times they have saved each other. However, they both admit that Sung has been the one doing most of the saving lately. Salim then tells Sung that he needs to be careful because he has been taking down opponents who outrank him lately. Salim doesn't want suspicions of Sung being a heretic to start flying around. Just then, Yuna arrives on the scene, and the steward also uses the opportunity to leave. She scolds the two for wasting too much time on getting a drink, but Sung claps back with her outfit. Yuna argues with them, telling them that the outfit is what she wears whenever she is not in uniform. Moments later, Evander and Jean also join them. They have all their things packed, and once they are ready, Salim suggests that it is time for them to leave. Sung notices that Evander is acting weird because of the last incident, and he urges him not to beat himself up over the incident. Sung reminds Evander that he was under the Apostles' orders, but Evander still hates the fact that he was out of control. Sung then assures Evander that he would have acted the same way if he had found the people who killed his mother. Sung lets him know that the team still trusts him since he didn't tell the Apostle that they didn't turn Jack in to the authorities. Sung's words of encouragement manage to get through to Evander, and he finally pulls himself together. He knows that the team needs to be operating at the optimal level if they are going to get a chance at finding the pen. Sung then has an internal monologue with himself. He talks about how he has been asking himself a lot of questions concerning why the Holy Order killed his mother. However, Sung has been able to hide his growing power all thanks to the deducer's pen. Sung knows that the others believe that he has gotten stronger because of the pen, but they are ultimately wrong. While he is alone in the bathroom, Sung asks the deducer's pen where his powers come from, but the pen fails to give him a definite answer. Sung soon leaves the bathroom, and he joins the rest of the team to get on the flight heading to London. Meanwhile, the steward has reached out to Julius. She tells Julius about Selim not being the one that they are looking for. However, she was able to learn during Selim and Sung's conversation that the pen of the condemned man is with Isabella. When Julius learns of this, he is absolutely enraged, and Arthur asks him what he plans to do with the information. Julius tells Arthur that since they are getting threats from every angle, he believes that it is time that they get the house in order. Later on, Sung and his teammates get to London. He managed to get some information on the deducer's pen, and he learns that these types of pens usually have their writer's blood in them, which retains their power even after death. Apparently, there are more pens created by Arthur Conan, and the most famous one is in the London Museum. Sung makes his way to the museum, where the pen called the detective's pen is located. The pen has the ability to deduce information about its user, and Sung hopes that it will help him get information on who his father was. Sung follows the queue alongside different people who want to use the pen. It gets to Sung's turn, and the security tells him that he has 1 minute with the pen. The detective pen, also called the Sherlock Holmes pen, was once used by the police to solve complex crime cases in the city. After answering all the questions asked by the security, Sung is given the chance to sit with the pen. Sung knows he has to be careful with the kind of questions he asks the pen since the room is heavily monitored. Sung's first question is to ask the pen if it knows who his father is. The pen replies that yes, but Sung is worried about asking his father's name since he's being watched. He then asks the pen if his father died recently and if he was famous. The pen replies to the two questions, telling him yes. Sung then rules out the fact that his father was a heretic. He asks the pen if his father was famous around the world, to which the pen says yes. This immediately calls the security guy's attention, who walks up to Sung, telling him that he has been granted VIP access to spend more time with the pen. Instead of taking the offer, he politely rejects, telling the guard that he has learned everything he wants to. Sung is able to ascertain that his father was a famous writer, which makes things even worse for him since he is ultimately an illegitimate heir. After this, Sung meets up with the rest of the team. The team is planning to check out the famous grandfather's clock, but Yuna is the least interested in seeing the clock. She lived in London in her early days, which is why she has seen the clock a couple of times. Selim asks Yuna about her days in London, but she refuses to answer. Sung tells Selim not to stress it and suggests that they find a pub first. Sung says Yuna usually becomes free whenever she has a few drinks in her. Unknown to the team, they are being stalked by an unknown figure who has different eye colors. The team then makes their way to the enormous palace which houses the king, Harry Shakespeare. Harry is heir to the most powerful writer bloodline on the entire planet. Sung then mentions his previous belief that the Hugos are the strongest. Selim replies that there is no certainty of who the strongest is between the two families. Selim explains that the heirs from the two families have given the title of a prophet, which is the highest title a writer can attain. Selim explains that this shows how powerful the two are. Apparently, there are 4 prophets in the world and they all seem to be on the same power level. Harry, on the other hand, is also the king, aside from the fact that he's a prophet. Apparently, back in the 19th century, the Shakespeares had just one condition before becoming an ally with the Holy Order. They had a deal that the throne would be transferred to them once peace was restored, which is why they now rule the country. Sung is impressed with the fact that the country is ruled by a writer. Selim mentions that writers in the country have loads of benefits, but it also causes them to look down on non-writers. Sung uses this to take a dig at Yuna, saying she got her attitude by living in London, but Yuna claps back by calling Sung a bonehead. Sung moves to the important mission, which is to find the pen. He asks Selim if they are close to finding the pen, and Selim says yes, since they are in the writer's district. All the publishing houses have their headquarters in the area. Jean considers their idea of sneaking into the Red Eye publishing house a risky move, and Sung agrees but says they have no choice. The Red Eye is an Anglo-Korean publishing house in which Hemingway is their CEO. Since they have known from the start that Isabella has the pen with her, they obviously have a head start. Yuna tells the team that the Dickens have properties everywhere in the country, but they are mostly never seen in public. She believes that following Red Eye will lead them to the pen quicker. The team reaches the Red Eye's office and is marveled at how big it is. Yuna explains that it is that big because the Red Eye was originally an English publishing house. Just then, a VIP arrives at the headquarters, and it turns out to be Yuna's mother. Yuna quickly hides her head to prevent her mother from seeing her. To make it worse, Hemingway is accompanied by the Red Eye team. Sung knows that the group is planning something, and Evander suggests that they act quickly. Just then, a red rider running toward the headquarters without looking up ends up running into Evander from behind. The rider turns out to be Zack, but the team is lucky that they have hats covering their faces. Just as Zack is about to leave, he takes a closer look at Evander. Just as he is about to figure out who he is, Sung knocks him out cold. Sung hopes that the dude doesn't remember much when he wakes up. However, their little act immediately attracts pedestrians, and to avoid having their cover blown, The team makes a run for it. The team manages to get to a safe location before they start thinking back on what happened. Yuna scolds Sung for almost getting them arrested, but Sung points out that Zack would definitely have recognized them if he hadn't knocked him out. In fact, Sung believes that the team should be thanking him. He teases Yuna, telling her that her mom didn't get to find out that she is in London, which is all thanks to her. Jean then mentions how dangerous it will be for them to sneak into the Red Eye publishing house with the recent development. Sung agrees with Jean, and he says they need to find another way to get the pen. Just then, Yuna mentions that she knows a bar close to them which only serves writers. Yuna believes that they can get some information in the bar, especially on the Dickens family. The team agrees with Yuna's idea, and they make their way to the bar. Meanwhile, they are being trailed by an acquaintance of Yuna. They soon enter the bar, and just like Yuna said, it is filled with writers. Yuna lets them know that the writers often become talkative once they have taken a few drinks. Sung suggests that they pay attention, hoping that one of them leads to Isabella. Salim notices how serious Sung is, and he suggests that he calm down. Salim urges them to enjoy themselves since they are in London, which is a rare thing. The team all stand up and raise a toast to the pen and believe that it will be theirs. As expected, Yuna gulps down an entire pint like it's nothing. She boastfully tells Sung that the beer tastes better than the rubbish that is being produced in Seoul. Just like they always do, the two end up trash-talking each other. Yuna then suggests that they head to the bar to get some more drinks, but lets Sung know that he will be the one to pay. Sung cannot believe that he just inherited the task of paying for the drink of an heiress. After the two leave the bar, Salim tells Evander that he is glad he followed them. He is assured that they are going to find the pen in no time since Evander is with them. Evander is surprised that Salim isn't mad at him, but Salim assures him that he's not, since he was only following the apostles' instructions. Salim adds that Evander made up for it by helping Jack escape. Salim says Jack might be a heretic, but he doesn't deserve to die. Jane is also glad that they helped Jack escape because he is a good person. Evander then asks Jane if she's not mad that he knocked her out, and she says yes. She remembers that she only woke up in Salim's arms, and she didn't feel a thing. The trio ends up raising another toast for being the best team. While Sung and Yuna are enjoying their drinks together, Sung thanks her for assisting him in stopping Evander from hurting Salim. Yuna then replies that there is no need for Sung to thank her since they are all on the same side. In addition, she is pretty sure that Sung could have handled Evander without her help. Yuna mentions her observation that Sung is getting stronger. She wants to believe that it has something to do with the pen Sung stole from the antiques shop. She then asks him if he still has the pen. Sung says he does and confesses that he might not let go of the pen. Just then, they are approached by two female writers who compliment Sung's beauty and that of the pen. She is able to figure out that Sung is a foreigner, and she asks him where she's from. Sung replies that he is from Japan and he is working for a publishing house there. The female writer confesses her shock that Sung has blue eyes, which is rare for Japanese people to have. Sung then confesses that he is only half Japanese. The conversation between them continues, and just as the girls are about to ask for Sung's name, they hear a noise coming from behind. Some of the writers have engaged in a brawl, and Sung learns from the female writer that the dude with white hair is one of the saints. The female writer is worried that things will become even worse than they already are. Apparently, the saints are beating up a non-writer girl who is asking about the whereabouts of the Dickens family. They throw the girl outside, ready to pounce on her. The girl offers her sincere apologies, telling the saints that she had no idea that the bar was meant for only writers. The saints do not believe this, but the girl insists that she is Isabella's biggest fan, which is why she is looking for her. She also has some manuscripts that she would like to show Isabella, and she is confident that she is going to publish them if she sees them. The saints only laugh at this, telling the girl that Isabella doesn't care about trash people like her. The girl is aware that Isabella is hosting a ceremony soon, and she asks them if they are willing to show Isabella her manuscript during the ceremony. The girl's mention of the ceremony only makes the saints more suspicious. They are surprised that a nobody like her knows about the ceremony. One of the saints decides that it is time he kills the girl since she already knows too much. He kicks her to the ground, but before he can continue with his brutal act, Sung appears on the scene to stop him. He urges him to take the chill pill and be a gentleman. This only gets the saint angrier and slaps Sung's hand off, asking him if he has a death wish or something. The moment Sung realizes that the saint is acting all cocky, Sung confidently tells him that he is going to beat some manners into him since he clearly lacks manners. Just then, a big guy, who is also a saint, appears from Sung's back. He cracks his knuckles, telling Sung that he is going to pay for not minding his business. Sung doesn't hesitate before pulling out the deducer's pen and activating it. Yuna and the rest of the team rush out of the pub, screaming at Sung to back down. However, Sung is already prepared to take on the saints all by himself. Once Sung's team sees that they can't avoid the fight, they decide to back him up. The deducer's pen transforms into a fan, and Sung concludes that the pen has figured out that this is the best weapon for him in that scenario. It is now left to Sung to figure out how to use the weapon to his advantage. Just before everything escalates, another Saint, Elliot, shows up on the scene. He urges everyone to calm down, but the saint who started the whole thing calls Elliot's attention to the fact that the girl is not a writer. Sung then cuts in, claiming that the girl is their intern. Sung says the girl might not be a writer, but he and the others are, and they surely have no interest in allowing the saints to touch her. Elliot then asks Sung who he is, and Sung reveals that they are writers who work at a publishing house in Japan. Elliot replies that they have a good relationship with a bunch of publishing houses in Japan, and he asks Sung which one they work for. Sung decides not to answer the question, and he tells the guy that they have no interest in revealing who their employer is. Elliot decides not to pursue the question further, but he suggests that they continue their chat in one of their offices. Elliot claims that they are one of the best publishing houses on the continent, the Saint Press. This immediately catches the team's attention, and Salim asks Elliot where they got the Saint's name from. Elliot reveals that it is a tribute to one of the greatest musicians, the Beatles. Apparently, the Saints are all heirs to the Beatles. The dude who started the whole thing is Tim, while the lady with him is Brooklyn, and the big guy is Ethan. Elliot reveals that the Saints specialize in stories and biographies that are about music. Elliot says they are interested in the Japanese scene and wants them to strike a deal. Sung remains on the defense, but Salim taps him from behind. Salim is worried that Elliot might want to lead them into a trap, but Yuna doesn't think so. She then reveals that she has known Elliot since they went to the same high school together. Yuna plans to keep a low profile, hoping that Elliot doesn't recognize her. Sung then suggests that they take the deal, hoping that they will learn something about the Dickens family. However, Salim is worried about the girl they saved. The girl then introduces herself as Jaya, asking if she can go with the team. Sung agrees to this since he already lied that she is working for them. Sung then tells Elliot that they are accepting his deal, and Elliot starts leading them to their head office. Jaya then thanks the team for saving her, and Salim lets her know that they are raised to protect non-writers where they came from. Salim also doesn't blame Jaya for what happened since she didn't know that the pub is for writers. However, Jaya debunks this, revealing that she actually knew that the pub is prohibited for people like her, but she is desperately looking for someone who can connect her to Isabella. Jaya also talks about how she has read a lot about Isabella's books. Sung then asks her about the ceremony she mentioned earlier. Jaya reveals that she is in a group dedicated to Isabella, and it was on this forum that she learned about the ceremony that Isabella is putting together. However, there was no mention of where and when, which is why she started looking for who knows where the ceremony is being held. Jaya then asks Salim if he would be willing to give Isabella her manuscript if they ever get an invitation, and he says yes. Meanwhile, Evander is reading the manuscript, and he is horrified at how bad the stories are. Sung then walks up to Elliot, asking him if he knows about the ceremony. Elliot says yes, but before he answers anything, he asks Sung why he speaks English with a Korean accent when he claims to be Japanese. At this point, Sung realizes that they might have been caught. Elliot reveals that Kay is one of their favorite writers, and he has the same accent as Sung, which is how he is able to figure out that they are lying. Elliot not only knows that they are Koreans, but also knows that they work for Nocturne. Sung is shocked, and he starts to wonder how the dude figured out which publisher they are working for. Sung then asks Elliot why he didn't say anything from the beginning. Elliot smiles and says he wanted to play along until they are finally ready to talk. Just then, he mentions Yuna's name to let her know that he already knows everything. Yuna has no choice but to come clean, and she teases Elliot for not changing one bit. Elliot mentions that Yuna's transfer to Nocturne was big news that reached England. Sung then cuts down the conversation, asking Elliot what he wants from them. Suddenly, Elliot reveals his true intentions. He proposes a duel the British way, which is with knives. Elliot tells Sung that he is going to get him an invite to Isabella's ceremony if he wins, but if he loses, Sung will relinquish the deducer's pen. Evander immediately suggests that he fight Elliot, but Sung assures him that he can take on Elliot. Sung agrees to the duel, and Elliot tells him the rules. He throws him a knife, telling him that the knife is the only weapon allowed in the duel. Elliot then adds that the loser is the one who yields. Before Sung prepares himself for the duel, Elliot dashes toward him and cuts him on the face, adding one more rule to the duel, which allows them to fight to the death. Elliot mocks Sung, telling him that he needs to be faster. Yuna is worried about the whole thing, and she urges Sung to back off from the duel, saying it isn't worth it because Elliot and his guys are known to fight dirty. Yuna and Elliot take a dig at each other, dating back to when they were in school. Elliot then tells Sung that their duel will determine who is going to win Yuna's heart. After Elliot is done talking, Sung flips his knife, telling Elliot to get ready for the real deal. Unknown to Elliot, Sung intentionally allowed Elliot to cut his face so he could know how strong he is. Sung then teases Elliot, urging him to attack so that he can show him how good Korean writers are. Elliot comes dashing at Sung, but Sung is already prepared for him. He grabs his arm before he can cut him. However, Elliot has also predicted that Sung might do something like that. He drops his knife and catches it with the other hand, and almost cuts Sung, but he manages to block the attack. Elliot admits that Sung learns faster, and Sung lets him know that he adapts faster than he even thinks. Sung swings his knife so fast that he forces Elliot to jump backwards. Sung takes off his jacket to look cooler. He then asks Elliot if he's ready to give up on the duel, but Elliot decides to do something crazy. Elliot orders his teammates to unleash their indexes, and Evander screams at Sung, telling him to come behind him. However, Elliot tells them to calm down, assuring Sung and his team that he is not breaking any rules. Apparently, he likes to fight to the sound of music, and this is why he asked his companions to bring out their musical instruments. Ethan and the others whip out drums, guitar, and other musical instruments. The entire area is engulfed in a musical aura, and Sung is not a fool. He knows Elliot is definitely up to something, but since the others are just playing their instruments as it is, he decides that he is going to play along. Sung confidently tells Elliot that his band is free to play alongside him. Just then, Elliot makes his move, and he looks faster than he was before. He makes zigzag movements before leaping into the air, and just as he reaches Sung, he suddenly changes direction. Elliot hits Sung, and before Sung can even pull himself together again, Elliot comes at him from the opposite direction. Elliot almost plunges his knife into Sung, but Sung manages to react at the last minute, and he dodges the attack. Elliot is impressed that Sung is able to dodge his surprise attack, but tells Sung that he is not going to survive the duel. Elliot charges towards Sung at high speed. Before reaching Sung, he swaps his knife just like he did the last time. Sung follows his movement, but before he knows it, the knife is back in Elliot's right hand. Sung is totally confused as to how this happens, but before he knows it, Elliot has reached him. The next thing Sung sees is Elliot pushing a knife into his left shoulder. Sung staggers backward with blood dripping everywhere. Sung realizes that he is in trouble because of the amount of blood coming out of him. To make it worse, he can't even move his arm, which means Elliot has managed to cut his tendon. Elliot doesn't give Sung a breather, and he comes running at him again. Selim and the others scream at Sung, telling him that the instruments are helping Elliot. Sung acknowledges this and realizes that Elliot is moving to the rhythm of his band. Before Sung can react again, Elliot cuts him in the stomach. Elliot becomes faster as he delivers several cuts to Elliot's body. Selim is worried and he suggests that they help Sung, but Evander holds him back. Evander believes in Sung and he is confident that he can get it done. Evander tells Selim that Sung knows what he is doing since he still has the deducer's pen with him. Elliot continues cutting Sung, urging him to give up, but Sung refuses. Sung realizes that Elliot's movements are too unpredictable, which is why he has to rely on his instincts and dodge at the last moment. Once Elliot figures out that Sung won't give up, he decides that killing him is the way forward. At this point, Sung's team is ready to help. Even Evander wonders why Sung won't use the deducer's pen since it's the only chance he has. Sung's knife falls from his hand, but he remains standing and he urges Elliot to come at him. Elliot then orders his friends to increase the music so he can give Sung a hero's death. Once Elliot is charging toward him at high speed, Sung finally pulls out the pen, and he realizes why it changed into a fan earlier. Elliot makes several moves before preparing his last move, which is going to kill Sung. He plans to enter Sung's blind spot and kill him from behind. Just as Elliot is about to reach him, Sung reveals his hand. He unleashes the pen. The pen turns into a fan that disrupts the music, ultimately altering Elliot's rhythm. Elliot is shocked that he can't hear the music again, but it is too late for him since he is already on the attack. Just as he reaches Sung, Sung dodges and delivers an elbow attack to Elliot's jaw, which is powerful enough to throw him to the ground. With just one strike, Sung ends the duel, leaving the Saints in shock. Sung then walks over to Elliot, reminding him of the invite he promised them. Elliot claims that he underestimated Sung, but he can't go back on his promise. He reaches into his pocket and brings out 4 invitations to Isabella's ceremony. Sung reveals that the ceremony will be held on Saturday in a mansion which is on the outskirts of the city. Tim screams at Elliot, telling him not to release the invitations because they are as good as dead if word gets out that they are the ones who helped. Brooklyn also agrees to this, and she suggests that they kill the Nocturne Riders instead. Elliot disagrees with them, reminding them that Sung defeated him fair and square. He then adds that none of them stands a chance against Sung. Elliot mentions that he can't yet put his finger on who Sung is, but he is sure about one thing, and that is the fact that Sung holds limitless power within him. 2 days later, Sung realizes that all of his wounds have healed. He is surprised at how fast his wounds are healing. Since the fight against the Red Eye team, he noticed that he has been doing crazy things. He remembered that he was able to injure Sumin during their encounter. He knows he has been training hard his entire life, but he doesn't think it should be enough for him to be easily defeating riders who are clearly more powerful than him. Sung thinks about everything that has happened so far, and he starts to wonder what rank his father was before he died. Just then, he remembers the glitch that happened during the certification ceremony. He realizes that it was 2 days after the attack on the Hugos, which was during their power transfer. This is when it dawns on him that Hugo is possibly his father, and he is already absorbing a prophet's power without even realizing it. Selim enters the room to find Sung in a worrisome state. He asks him if there is anything wrong, and Sung lies that he can't decide on what to wear to the ceremony. Selim also notices that Sung's wounds have healed. Sung claims his arm is healed but still a bit sore. Just then, Selim tells Sung that he needs to talk to him about something. Selim acknowledges the fact that Sung has gotten really stronger, and he decides to come out with his theory. Salim believes that Sung is heir to a great writer, but before they can continue the conversation, Yuna enters the room to check on why they are not ready yet. Yuna cannot believe that Sung is putting on a red shirt out of all the shirts in the world. Jana, on the other hand, is pulling up with a very nice ball gown. Salim and Sung both commend Jan for how beautiful she looks. Yuna walks over to Sung, reminding him not to stray from the plan. Evander then enters the room and suggests that they go over the plan one more time, just so that they can be sure. The map of the mansion is pulled out and spread on the table. Yuna was able to get her hands on the map after pulling together a few favors from some families that she knows. Their plan entails Sung, Salim, and Jane watching everyone's movements while Evander searches the rest of the house. Yuna points to the trophy room and says it is the only place she thinks they can keep the pen since their most valuable collection pieces are kept there. Evander hands out earbuds that will help them stay in contact. Yuna says she will not be going to the party to avoid being recognized there. Sung is disappointed that Yuna will not be attending since he would like to see her in her natural habitat. Yuna screams at Sung to change his shirt because it looks hideous, and she urges him to focus on their mission. Yuna is worried that Arya and her team will also be at the party. Evander is ready to put everything at stake to make sure that Arya's team doesn't get the lead over them. Evander is confident that securing the pen will also secure Nocturne, the most lucrative deal in the history of Korea. Once they have gone over their plans, Evander suggests that it is time they get a move on. Sung realizes that Salim looks worried, and he walks over to him, telling him that he has been having the same thought as him. Sung admits that a new power is growing inside him. However, he lets his friend know that he has nothing to worry about, even if it turns out that he has inherited powers. Shortly afterward, Sung and his teammates arrive at the mansion where the ceremony is being held. Sung still goes with his red shirt, but he wears a black coat over it. To increase his aura, he wears sunglasses. They present their invitations at the entrance, and they are allowed inside. Sung assures Salim that they will always be together, just like they have since they were kids. The team joins the bunch of people who also came to grace the party. Once they are in, Evander orders the team to spread out and take on their respective tasks. After walking around for a few minutes, Sung contacts his teammates, telling them that he hasn't seen any trace of red-eye riders in the hall. Salim and Evander both say the same thing. Jean also says she can't see any of them, but just then, she runs into someone, and that someone turns out to be Frostblade. Back at the hotel, Yuna prays that their plans work out. She is worried about the red-eye team, but she keeps her mind at bay that the team won't cause a scene at such a prestigious party. Just then, she hears a knock on the door, and it turns out to be Jaya. Yuna welcomes her into the hotel room, but once she does, Yuna opens her index and whips out her scythe. Yuna figures out that Jaya is not who she claims to be since she never told her the name of the hotel where they are staying. A closer look into Jaya's eyes reveals that she was the one trailing the team when they first arrived in London. She was the unknown figure with different eye colors standing above a rooftop and watching them. Yuna doesn't wait for an explanation before charging at Jaya. Now at the party, Frostblade holds Jean's hands and requests a dance from her. She wants to reject the offer, but he insists. Frostblade asks Jean if her team is in the house, but she says no. Frostblade then moves closer to her, telling her that he is aware of the communication device in her ear. Immediately he does this. The rest of the team hears his voice and immediately figures out that Frostblade is in the building, which automatically means the rest are also there. Sung tells Jean not to panic since Frostblade will not want to do anything with this many people around. Sung says they need to be worried about the other Red-Eye Riders because they will be out looking for the pen. Evander immediately decides that it is time he looked for the pen. He heads to the trophy room and urges Sung to use the deducer's pen if push comes to shove. Salim wants Evander to wait till Isabella shows up, but Sung suggests that Evander continues with the plan since they cannot allow the Red-Eye team to find the pen before them. Salim then suggests that they check on Jean since they have no idea what Frostblade is doing to her. Sung agrees with Salim and tells him to go look for the girl. Sung says he wants to try something crazy in the meantime. Sung heads into a private area and he whips out the deducer's pen so it can help him solve a mystery. Sung asks the pen the best way for him to defeat the Red-Eye Riders. The deducer's pen then tells Sung that the best chance at defeating the Red-Eye Riders is to find the pen of the condemned man. The deducer's pen adds that it can sense the pen somewhere close. Sung is relieved that they are in the right place, and the deducer's pen offers to lead Sung to where the pen of the condemned man is being kept. Sung is shocked that the deducer's pen is leading him to the bedrooms, which is not where they believe the pen will be. Suddenly, Sung runs into the least expected person, Kay. Sung asks Kay why he is at the party, and Kay reveals that the success of his last book caught Isabella's attention and she made him a guest of honor. Kay doesn't waste time with Sung, claiming that they are waiting for him at the stage. Sung doesn't believe Kay one bit, and he thinks his coming to the party has to be because of the pen. However, Sung decides that he is not going to tell the others that Kay is in the building, as he is not looking to cause more trouble for them. Sung believes that he has an advantage thanks to the deducer's pen, which will help him to find the pen of the condemned man before anyone else. The deducer's pen leads Sung to a door and tells him that what he is looking for is behind the door. Before opening the door, Sung prays that there is no one inside. Surprisingly, he pushes the door open pretty easily, leaving him shocked as to why the door isn't locked. Upon entering, he realizes that he is in Isabella's private chambers. The deducer's pen tells Sung that the pen he is looking for lies in the room because he can sense its great power. Sung walks over to the table in front of him and finds the pen lying there. Sung smiles in relief because they have suffered just to get the pen. He contacts his friends, telling them that he has the pen. Just as he is about to pick the pen, a spear comes flying at him with great speed. Sung manages to dodge but sustains a cut to his shoulder. Sung turns back to see Arya staring at him with bloodlust written all over her face. Meanwhile, Selim has been able to locate Frostblade, and he hopes that Frostblade hasn't hurt her. Just then, Zack runs into Selim and pushes him to the ground. Selim gets back on his feet and almost hits Zack in the face, but the speakers come on to welcome Isabella into the hall. Isabella appears in a gorgeous dress, leaving everyone in the room totally marveled. Even Selim can feel the intense aura coming from Isabella's presence in the room. Isabella makes her way to her chair and sits down like a queen. Selim is blown away, and he finally gets the feeling of being in the presence of an S-rank writer. The host also welcomes Kay to the stage, and this is when Selim realizes that Kay is in the building. He also comes to the bitter realization that Kay is not at the party out of sheer coincidence. Selim contacts Jean, telling her that they need to find the rest of the team because she can feel that something is wrong. Selim tries to contact Sung and Evander, but he receives no response in return. As if things are not worse already, the host invites someone else to the stage, and this turns out to be Jaya. Apparently, Jaya is the chief steward for the Dickens family. Selim and Jean cannot believe their eyes when they see Jaya walk to the stage. In Isabella's room, Sung and Arya are still fighting each other. Arya is desperate to get the pen because she wants Red Eye to become the best publishing house in Korea. Sung tries to call her to reason that their fight will do nothing but attract the Dickens to the room. However, Arya is fixated on the pen, and Sung comes to the conclusion that he needs to defeat Arya so he can get a move on. Since Arya is a C-rank writer, Sung believes that he has a chance just the same way he did with Elliot. Sung gets serious with Arya and unleashes some really fast-paced attacks that even Arya cannot keep up with. Before Arya knows it, Sung knocks her back. Arya is shocked because, with what she knows, Sung shouldn't be that fast. Arya screams out in horror, telling Sung that he is nothing but an E-rank writer since no one reads his books. Arya then comes up with the assumption that Sung is a heretic who increased his reads by publishing forbidden books. Arya decides to go all out, and she unlocks everything she has in her arsenal. Even Sung can feel the sudden burst in Arya's power, and this scares him a bit. Arya is ready to defeat Sung so that she can add him to the pen of the condemned man, which will definitely make the Holy Order very happy. Arya unleashes a barrage of spears at Sung, which scares Sung. Sung decides that running out of the room might be the best decision for him. Sung runs toward the pen and grabs it. He wants to run out of the room, but knows that he needs to do this by fighting Arya since she has the exit covered. Arya then unleashes another wave of daggers at Sung. Suddenly, the roof above them falls apart, and a bearded man comes falling into the room. He lands on the ground, releasing a massive shockwave that sends the two flying. The force from the wave is so much that it sends the two right into the main hall. Sung is shocked to see Selim, Jean, and the rest of the Red Eye Riders surrounded by armed knights wearing heart-shaped armor. Above them is a scary aura coming from Isabella herself. Arya bows her head to Isabella, apologizing for the trouble. Sung, on the other hand, takes a better look at his surroundings, and he realizes that everything was a trap from the beginning. Somehow, the Dickens were able to figure out that they were coming, and the reason they were also coming. All the British writers are watching the scene unfold from the balcony. Sung is still trying to process the information when the bearded man appears beside him. He punches him in the tummy, telling him to bow before Isabella. The bearded dude is Anish, and he is a B-rank writer who is also a bodyguard to the Dickens. Sung falls to the ground, barely able to breathe, and he figures that Anish must have broken one of his ribs with his punch. Sung is grabbed by the armed knights, leaving Sung to wonder what the armored knights are. He figures that he has seen them somewhere before. It then dawns on him that the knights are the Queen of Hearts army from the book Alice in Wonderland, which is written by Lewis Carroll. Sung joins his friends and he tells them that knights are characters from Alice in Wonderland. He figures that Lewis's heir must be close by, and Selim tells him that they already know the person is, and it is none other than Jaya. Selim reveals that Jaya has been playing them from the start. Sung is horrified when he learns this from Selim. But he is a stubborn fellow, and he screams at Isabella, asking her what she wants from them. Jaya simply orders the knights to knock Sung to the ground, urging him to keep his mouth shut. The British writers laugh out loud when they see this. They even tell Jaya to do it again to keep entertaining them. Jaya picks up the mic and welcomes all the guests to the function. She tells them that a special event has been organized for their entertainment, which is the Battle of Korea. The guests all laugh when she says this, and Jaya continues by saying Isabella is to be thanked for the special event. Evander tells Sung to prepare himself because they are going to have to fight the Red Eye Riders. Jaya then reveals that the first round of battle will feature the first-hand press, which is being represented by Kay. Apparently, Kay accepted their invitation on his own accord. It finally dawns on Sung that they have been brought to the manor to fight to the death, while the spectators watch from the balconies in amusement. Sung wonders how Jaya was able to figure out that they were there for the pen. Jaya then reveals that first-hand press will be going up against Scrollgate Press. Apparently, Scrollgate is represented by its last living member, Jack. Just then, Jack is dragged into the room by the knights. The spectators all laugh when Jack is being dragged into the room. They call him a heretic while applauding the Dickens for putting together a good show for them. It turned out that Jaya tracked Jack down after Sung and his team helped him escape the country. She then caused him so much pain that he had no choice but to tell Jaya that Sung and his team were also looking for the pen. With tears in his eyes, Jack apologizes to Sung and his team for talking, even though he had no choice. Salim then tells Jack not to worry because they are going to help him out again. Salim wants to take a step, but one of the knights puts him in his place. Sung urges Salim to stay put since there is nothing that they can currently do to help Jack. Jack and Kay are each given a spear, and the rules are laid out. The first person to cut the other will be declared the winner of the duel. Sung immediately gets worried because Jack has no chance against Kay, since Kay is a B-rank rider. Salim begs Kay not to aim for any vital organs so that Jack can live. Salim reminds Kay that he doesn't need to kill Jack to win the duel. Kay agrees to this and pushes his spear into Jack's foot, thus making him the winner of the first round. Kay walks off the arena while the spectators clap their hands in excitement. Sung cannot believe that the people are all happy to see riders kill each other. Suddenly, they hear Jack screaming. They turn around to see Jack losing his flesh, and in under a minute he transforms and becomes